crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
we need to hop on. Yeah,
we done
we
been
need to hop
wearing
on
this for
that.
a minute, y'all. We done been wearing this
Hey,
for a
let's
minute.
get this rolling because I know my wife gonna be coming in. I gotta help with groceries real quick.
All right, that's cool.
So it's rolling already, y'all. So everybody, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the State of the Industry 2020 Gaming Roundtable podcast. I am one of your hosts this evening. I am happy to be back behind the mic. My name is Larry, aka Blue Man Rule, and brought to you today by Perform Radio, who just celebrated their 500th episode, but also joined by my main damies. Look, I gotta do it. I gotta go to my man, to my virtual right out in Virginia. It's none other than, y'all know him, y'all love him. It's Mike, aka Scarfinger, aka Real
I don't know.
Talk. What's up, dog?
Oh my
What's up,
god!
dog? We in the building, two up, two down. You know what I'm saying?
Two up, two down.
It's been a little bit, man. And look, I'm gonna tell y'all straight up.
You gotta get up in the camera for that.
I'm gonna look right in the camera, and I'm gonna say it again. I'm gonna say it again. I've been trying to talk Blue into a facetious, just a pop in for months now, months.
Months.
And the man was like, "All right, we're gonna try to do it then." And then he would be like, "Yo, we're gonna try to do it like a month from now. I got this going, I got that going," and then we ain't never get nothing going.
But we going now. We going now. Now the main man who was the onus of this gaming roundtable is none other than my one of my councils, my dude to the south, is Henry, aka Knox Broadcast. What's going on, bro?
Hey, what's up, man? Man, I ain't been here in a flat out hot minute, but no, it's good, man. It's good to see everybody, man. Good to see everybody's healthy and good, and not coughing and breathing on each other. We all good.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Hashtag elbow cough.
even if I was, man, y'all ain't gonna know. I'm gonna turn my camera. I'm gonna turn my camera and my mic off, cause right all up in these elbows.
Right.
All up in the elbows.
Well, you keep that out there in the VA, and then finally joining us, man, is the man who, if you can see the stream right now, which as you guys know, I should let you know, this is being concurrently broadcasted on YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer. So, is none other than Jimmy, aka the Ace Black. What's going on, dog?
What's going on? It's definitely been a hot minute for me. Real hot minute.
Man,
Good
dog.
to see y'all again, man. Good to see y'all again.
Yeah,
Glasses
man.
for the first time in my life.
Yeah. Well, y'all, we out here in these streets now. Knox, I have the agenda on another sheet, but dog, this is really the thing that you wanted to drive, man. So I'm gonna let you just drive the whole thing. I'm gonna sit over here in like the passenger seat, or I'm gonna sit in the third row, and I'm just gonna kick back and let you go ahead and take it.
Man, you know Knox can talk. Man, come on, man. Gosh, talk. You gonna let him drive? Oh,
Look at
man.
it. Look at it. Here we go. We can really just talk about Ace the whole show. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know.
Yeah, please do. I'll come right through this damn screen. Go ahead. No,
His internet fast enough. He could pull the ring real fast. Crawling to the screen. Oh man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid as hell.
No, I mean, really, honestly, I wanted to have this show personally just before the new consoles come out because we hadn't recorded in a long time, and I know we have a lot to cover, and this is probably be broken up. I don't know what we're going to do, or maybe just let it just be a full podcast. But there's so much to talk about, and so much has changed, not just with the industry, but with the community, with us as growing older. I mean, when you think about it, man, like the last gen consoles came out in 2013. It's 2020. That's 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about when we first got together, when we first started meeting each other, that was back in like 2010, 2009.
Bro, the podcast Scarcasm is 10 years old.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? So we as people, as individuals, we have grown. Our tastes have changed. The people that we interact with, the community that we correspond with, and how
haven't changed one bit. Go ahead and say it. We have grown and we have changed, but the interactions between the community that we and the people that we used to be friends with ain't changed one bit. They still are the same nonsense.
Right. Yeah. I mean, well,
I'm afraid so.
Well. Okay. So before we hop into the marketplace, I do want to take maybe 10, 15 minutes, and we can go around the table. But I'll kind of start it off with like a basic subject. Is when you look at our group, our cohesive group, I would say we've had a chat group in some shape or form, whether it be via text, whether it be via Google Hangouts, now Discord. We've had a cohesive sort of. It's really been an open chat group, but people have sort of seen their way out because for various reasons. But we've had this group sort of siphoned off from the rest of the community because really, honestly, for me, like it felt like I was going on some type of grand tour when 2013 came out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like because I like this particular box and because I say I like these particular games, everybody wanted to have me on their podcast in 2013 because they just couldn't figure out why I like what I like. And that was so insane to me. And so fast forward, people talking about resolution and everything else or whatever, and you come to find out like these people are really crazy. Like it's people that have it's people that have legitimate problems when they are so invested into their team or their color or their box or their piece of plastic where they are willing to forego friendships, whole friendships for however long that we've been sort of kicking it together and podcasting together for the sake of a team or for the sake of whatever. And looking back at all of that and looking back in light of the chat that we've sort of had and developed and the camaraderie that we've had, we're all still here. So I think that speaks volumes on the level of sanity that we have, and not talking down to anybody, but what is y'all's perspective of why that happened? And what is y'all's opinion looking at the landscape of these past 5 or 6 years that we've been sort of in our own little corner and looking at the wider landscape of the quote unquote the gaming community?
I mean, I'll jump in. I mean,
who want to go first? All right, go ahead. Do your thing.
Okay. I think what just got me is it's not even about games anymore. It's about power. We never cared about that. That was never something that was. I mean, for me personally, I didn't care about power. It's about what I played and how I was going to spend my money. Right. But for some reason, the power situation, the power conversation just completely consumed and engulfed the gamer. That's all they cared about. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at some of these gaming interviews, the first question they ask, well, what's the resolution? And the developers are like, what's the resolution? I'm like, well, look at the gameplay. I mean, that completely just engulfed people's minds. Mm-hmm. Whereas our group, we're too old for that. I mean, whatever is going to have to play the best games, that's where we're going to go, whether it's PC, Xbox, or PlayStation. Right. But for some people, they just consumed on power. And here's the sad part. It's still about power. It's not even about that anymore. And that's just what gets me. But go ahead, y'all. What y'all got to say?
Go ahead, Scott.
You sure you want me to go before you?
Because I mean, somebody has to bring you down. Somebody has to ratchet you down.
Oh
okay.
Boy.
Okay. I think that the like what Ace was just saying, like the power conversation has completely wrecked what was already broken in the community. We I use the hip hop analogy a lot when describing the gaming community. How like when hip hop went like East versus West, right. and then the while they were doing East versus West, then that's when the South came up and the South took over. And I use that a lot for the gaming analogy of like how like it was Sony and Microsoft and then Nintendo and like all of the casuals and in the games that they liked kind of slid in underneath and became a huge thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like in a world where Sony and Microsoft doesn't exist, can Fortnite be what it is? Because that's a casual game. You know what I mean? It's a game that most of us look at and just kind of like, huh. But, you know, like Fortnite would have never succeeded because we would have all been on PUBG. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that idea. And like in the way that gaming is now is very much like politics, where like
absolutely
everybody has their side right now. And because you have your side and like because you pick a side, which a lot of us haven't. We play where like A said, we play where the games are. We go where what we like is. So we haven't really like picked 100% picked a side except Knox. But but when you don't pick a side and you play where the games are, then you start noticing the conservative versus liberal kind of thing that's happening in the gaming community. And
Yes.
and people are so entrenched on their side, Sony versus Microsoft, that they're not even noticing the same way in politics. They don't notice the glaring issues with their side. And just realize that it's not about your side. It's not about your side. This is supposed to be something that benefits all of us. And if just like in politics, if we don't start working for the things that benefit all of us, then none of us are going to win. And the only people who are going to win is Sony and Microsoft.
Right.
Just like in politics, I look at it like this: because I don't have a whole lot of money, my only part of the process is my vote. The same way that in the gaming community, your only real process in this is what you pay for,
right?
And like, you don't make no decisions other than that.
Right. Exactly.
Like, you make no other decisions other than what you decide to purchase and what you allow by making said purchase. 2K. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. But like, one small thing that I want you to speak to as well is because we've seen this happen over the past 10 years as well, is that as the advent of social media and as the advent of streaming and streamers and gamers and YouTube girls and everything else has gotten more popularized, Twitch streamer, everything else or whatever, we've seen that people who haven't historically had a voice because they haven't had the deep pockets or the wallets to be able to pay for sponsorships or be able to get into these events, just having that voice, I mean, especially when it comes to Microsoft. I mean, it's like Microsoft has been afraid of their own shadow for the past, like, 7 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like they, they change so much that they forget about the consumers that actually spent and invested money in their product. But I guess could you speak to that aspect? Like, people being really, really loud and like being,
I think Microsoft went from being like a big dog in a small area, like somewhere like, like the New England Patriots. They went from being the New England Patriots to being the Browns, and realized they were the Browns. So they spent all of this. So they spent all of this time trying to spend money and make a better system. And like how the Browns just got all of these big name talents, and then the talent still didn't really do anything. Like, it's like that's what Microsoft became. Microsoft became the Browns. Like, they used to be near the top. They used to be something comparable to the Patriots, and now they're the Browns, and like, they're still trying to figure out how to make this thing, how to do something with this thing.
Do you think that has anything to do with leadership, though?
I think it
absolutely.
Knox will say it's absolutely. I think it's just people. And like, people doing people things, because like, they made a huge mistake at the beginning of the generation, and in the scheme of things, it wasn't really that big, but it came out at the wrong time, and they did the wrong things at the wrong time, and it was just panic mode from there. The dude who was in charge left, and he was like, "Good luck. I messed this up for everybody. Good luck." And they've been playing catch up. They've been struggling so hard to play catch up, when it was like, no, take your time, develop your talent. The same, like, if they would have took more of instead of a Cleveland Browns approach, if they would have did a Warriors type approach, where the Warriors took the time, understood what they had. They got rid of the coach. They brought in a new coach, and he realized how to make these pieces work. What we have works, and this is how we're going to make it work. And he changed their approach. He didn't change anything about the pieces. He just changed how the pieces work together. And like, and that's what Microsoft can't figure out. And then and then you can do the Cleveland Browns thing by bringing in Kevin Durant, after you're already winning. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Well, Blue, you have some interesting past stories. I mean, when we talk about open form radio in the community, and where that kind of spawned from, that kind of came out of, that level of cantankerous attitudes amongst people in the community and everything else. And then as we see the progression of things sort of roll forward, you've kind of, you spin off and you did your own thing for a pretty good while. And then, with all the shows that we've seen come and go and things that we've done and projects that we've had, like what is your opinion of the landscape of the community? And then of course, as far as a larger point, kind of the way things are going. Cause like Scar said, like when we talk about us is very small now. Yes, and I kind of asked a question that kind of started this off at first. So you can speak to the community piece, but I want you to end off with saying, or you can start off, is that gaming is no longer niche.
Right.
So we're no longer the it crowd in terms of the extroverted people from society, if to take an analogy from like whatever, but like now when we look at
extroverted
gaming,
or extricated.
Yeah, I'm sorry, extricated. So like we are no longer the nerds or the cool kids or the geeks or whatever. We're just a part of the group. But the problem is we get, as Scar says, the Wii U board, we get the balance board, we get the Fortnites, which are taking over. We get games like Bleeding Edge, which, crazy or whatever. But just speak to that community piece and then how that rolls into
before he does that, can I say one thing?
Yeah.
Because I already said this on Facetious. That the biggest problem is we had this community, and we had a certain ideal about our community, and with the rise of first person shooters, most specifically like Halo and Call of Duty and stuff like that, it integrated a real jock-like competitive element to what we do, and that is partially what fractured everything, because we started acting like jocks.
Well,
we started acting like jocks, and we don't know how to act like jocks. We're just pretending, and like and that them pretending and has led us down a path to whereas we're here where we are now, where like grown men, like almost 50 and some 50 plus year old men, are still arguing Sony versus Microsoft when they know that they have enough money to buy both and play whatever they want to, wherever they want to. But they're grown men. You can go on Twitter right now.
Yep,
right now. And I rarely go to Twitter. I rarely brave the wild outside of my mentions. But every time you go to Twitter, you see the same people arguing the same things, and it's dumb.
Absolutely.
Like we moved past this. We got together and we grew up basically together, and like it seems like the rest of them didn't grow up.
Right. So I oddly enough, I don't disagree with Scar on this point. The gaming landscape used to consist of a lot of people who had many different tastes, and a lot of people were cool with that. A lot of people were okay with people having different tastes. A lot of people were okay with people, going out there. Hey, we in a massive game night on Xbox Live. It don't matter what you playing. Just come on out there and holler at your boys. That's what it used to be. What has happened and what has caused the bifurcation or the splitting of the community is that now, like Mike was saying, it introduced a lot of different type of gaming personality types, right? The jocks, right? But not necessarily just the jocks, right? Because I grew up playing sports games, grew up playing sports, but it was the mentality of, yo, I'm going to complain until somebody takes action. I'm going to speak up and be loud. So now we have what used to be a rather rather cool voice in the gaming community now has shifted to the loud, complaining type, and it started back, even before then, but it started back like the No Russian level, Call of Duty. Then it progressed on to Mass Effect 3 ending, right? Mass Effect 2 ending, and then all of Mass Effect 3. And people just complain. And then what happened is that now our gaming community is so angrily vocal, and they're so unyieldingly obstinate that they want how they want it. And now I felt I had to split from it, and I felt like I didn't need to be involved with it, or at least if I'm out here talking about it, then it needs to be from a perspective of sensibility at the very least. And
I would interject and say from a perspective of being properly informed.
Right.
You know,
right.
when I look at 2013, kind of alluding to what Scar was saying earlier, like more than half of that stuff was panicked people going on Twitter yelling about things they didn't understand.
Right.
And my biggest argument, I remember that I went on Game Enthuse. I went on what was the other podcast that the guys from Tag had? They split off or whatever. Yeah, I went on PGR. I went on like 10 podcasts in like five days, and I was like, bro,
I remember that.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, please chill out. Like, I got kids, I got boys, and of course my boys are younger. But I was saying that not being facetious, no pun intended. Right. But I was saying that to be serious. Like, bro, be quiet, bro. They're gonna let us buy one game and serve with 10 people.
Right.
Chill out. Chill.
Yeah.
Please.
Chill out.
And it's like y'all scared them out of it, and then they lost their partners, and then the whole thing went away from there. It's like, oh, we're gonna bring it back. They never brought it back. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, like do you understand what we could have had? And then it's so funny because you have games like Titanfall, you have games like Fortnite, you have games like PUBG. These are online only. Destiny came out. It's the biggest thing since sliced bread.
Right.
So everybody tells me. And I'm like, these games are always online, only online. You can't play it unless you have an online connection, but ain't nobody got no problem with it. But you had a problem with being able to share 10 games with 10 friends.
You had a problem with them saying that you need an always online connection, and it was going to check to make sure that you was online or a little bit. But now it checks every time you try to play anything. Right. You can't, like, my power, the power will go out or something like that, or like my router starts jacking up, and I can't play anything on my Xbox. Like the other day, when Xbox Live was acting up or whatever, like
which
that,
has been very frequently recently.
And play anything offline. I had to go to my PlayStation. I had to turn my PlayStation on for the first time in months because
don't do that.
Not that I have a problem with the PlayStation. I just thought that because I'm invested in the Xbox ecosystem and I have Game Pass Ultimate. Like it made more sense to play games there than to play games and to keep paying for PlayStation Network for no reason.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can sort of roll into the next topic, and we'll start with you.
No, I got one more thing I wanted to say about the conversation that we just had.
Okay, go ahead.
When I talk about the jock element being attached to the community, what I'm really getting at is it used to be inclusive, and then the jock element is the my team should win at all costs is what infected the community. That element of jock culture, my team should win at all costs.
It was bad.
One side effect of that jock culture is not just the ninjas of the world or the Dr. Disrespects of the world, but it's these people who have sort of came up through the ranks, and now they have that added bonus of popularity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, YouTubers.
They have the added bonus of access. So because I have access and because I have popularity, therefore I'm better than you. You know what I'm saying?
Those people I say aren't bad. The same way I don't think like teams like the Cowboys or Duke or Patriots fans. I mean, I don't think those teams are bad. Their fans make everything worse. And that's basically what happened.
Just to add to what Scar's saying, I agree with him because these were people that said, "Well, damn, I don't have nowhere else to go. Everybody's hating on this console. I like it." So they went ahead and they started their own thing. So
yeah. Well, I think that kind of takes us to I guess the first topic, and we can speak to this now because we grown. You know what I'm saying? When I was arguing with people back in 2013 about this digital future, and now it's here. But also too, I'm a multiplayer guy, so I'm just like Scar. So when Xbox Live is down, or if PSN is down, or if the internet is down in my house, and I'm trying to play a game, because I am a multiplayer guy, I like Battlefield, I like Halo, I like whatever, you know what I'm saying? And so I cannot play anything. So I'm looking like, okay, I guess I go back and play Sonic the Hedgehog or Streets of Rage or something for a little bit till my internet come back up, whatever. But at the beginning and really every single year, we have seen some type of game or software or the breakdown of certain things. And we have these little small minor clauses in the digital purchases that we buy. They have expiration dates. Now, of course, the expiration dates are exuberant. It says like 2025 or something like that or whatever, 2024. But gosh, dog, it's 2020 now. You know what I'm saying? So if I don't download all my Walking Dead episodes that I bought on Microsoft's platform, or if I don't download a perfect example, Ultraviolet is no more. I had to sit there and I had to download 20 movies in my Ultraviolet library because they went out of business or whatever happened. But even much more than that, we don't own anything anymore. And that's the scary part to me, because there is that small old gamer in me that feels like, gosh, dog, when Battlefield 4 came out, that game was terrible. Master Chief Collection was atrocious. Batman Arkham City, Night. It came out broken, and it's like developers have developed this mindset of we'll just patch it. Like, no, when you build a game, when you make a game, when that game goes gold, you are saying that game is certified, ready to play out of the box. Patching means there's a minor issue here, there's a graphical quirk here, you got to fix it or whatever. But we getting patches that are almost like 99 gigs now. Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, my the new update for the Division 2 was like 58 gigs.
It was 58 gigs.
An update?
Yes,
58
gigs.
And it changed. It was a complete overhaul of that game.
Because you're now in New York, right? Like you out of the streets of DC, and you're now back in New York with Kena, right?
It's the DLC is in New York. Yeah, and it's a much smaller area of New York.
But still, that's a whole new map. But the thing is, like, 58 gigs. Son.
But see, here's the thing. The crazy part about it is they did the whole Capcom thing. You have to whether you have the expansion. They released a title update before at the same time that they did the New York thing. Mm-hmm. So even if you just wanted to play the game, you still had to download all of that. You want to know how much that key, once I already had everything downloaded, because I bought it a few days after.
13 minutes.
No, it was like 28K.
What? So it just unlocked it, is it?
It just unlocked it. That's all it did.
Wow.
It was like 28K to unlock that, but I had already had to download it because I did the title update.
Modern Warfare is the same way. If you do not do their title update, and their title update was 62 gigs, you don't get that, you can't play the game.
I'm sorry, man. Like, you just sent me a whole new title. 62 gigs is huge.
Yeah, and like Scar is saying, these title updates aren't just updates, and they're not just like giving you goodies or trinkets or whatever the case may be. They are fundamentally changing the game. Like, I remember when
No, hold on, wait. Let me clarify one word. They are fundamentally fixing their broken ass.
No, exactly. like Battlefield was broken. Master Chief Collection took 6 months to fix it, and then when they fixed it, there was still some issues. Mm-hmm. And like that's like in the broader picture. How do you feel about this digital future? Because when something happens, my sons just shrug their shoulders and they go pick up the iPad and turn on Mario Party or whatever the case may be. I don't shrug my shoulders because I'm the one shelling out the cash for this internet. I'm the one shelling out this cash for Xbox Live and PlayStation Plus or whatever the case may be. So I don't shrug my shoulders. I'm like, this stuff should work. And I just paid $60 for Battlefield 4. This should work right now. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's different. The difference between like a Division and Destiny and what they do, and the difference between No Man's Sky and the new Ghost Recon. Those are two completely separate things to me, because they're both doing the same basically things, and basically what they're getting ready to do to Anthem, where they released those things. They released a broken product. And like they've been scrambling to fix it, and then it's just like, you know what, we're just going to do an overhaul, and that's the No Man's Sky, the Anthem, and all what Anthem is trying to do. But in the case of the Division, like, these are changes that they probably could have made, but in these cases, especially what happened with that in Destiny when Taken King and stuff came out, these are things that's like, no, this is what our game needs, so we're going to do a big overhaul of everything. If you want to buy the DLC, that's cool, but like everything else, like I get that part of it. I get like reevaluating your situation and say, okay, these things don't work. These things don't work the way we intended, so let's just go back and fix it, as opposed to our game doesn't work.
Here's the caveat to that that's so interesting about this overhaul and update patch thing. You have a game that probably came out, I don't know, I'm probably wrong, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, and they're constantly keeping it fresh, and it's still popular. I am shocked how good Rainbow Six Siege is doing with the updates that they constantly just keep putting on that game.
Yeah.
And I would rather see something like that, where I ain't got to go run out and buy Rainbow Six Siege 2 or whatever. You just keep updating the game, putting new characters in it.
But at the same time, the same parent company completely botched Ghost Recon. Completely botched Ghost Recon.
And see, that's the dice that you roll, and I guess I'll get Blue to speak to this one, because he is a single player guy. You know, now we have games coming out in this digital landscape where we're paying for game passes up front, and we don't know what's coming in the game pass.
Right.
Like, like we are paying in an additional $20, $30, $40, $50 in some cases, depending on the popularity of the game, for this digital game pass that's going to provide us more content, but we have no idea what content is going to be included. So Blue, can you speak to the marketplace and like whether you think it's good or bad, or you kind of like just, I guess,
yeah, absolutely. So what I think is the problem here is the fact that these companies that generally release games that rely on this continuing revenue stream down the line are normally massive companies in the first place. They don't need them ducats. They generally don't need the money, but they just out here to get it because they know people are going to give it to them. So the problem is what is happening subconsciously, and people aren't paying attention, is that a $60 game is no longer a $60 game. A $60 game is a $90, $100 game, $120 sometimes. And we're just not noticing it because we have a chance to modularly pay it. We can pay for the base game, and then when they send an update or an expansion or whatever, then we pay for the expansion. We're not putting 2 and 2 together saying, well, 60 and 60 is 120. You know, we're just not doing that. And so it renders a problem, because I would do that for a company that I trusted, or a small company who needed the funds in order to complete said expansion or to improve the game in some manner. I would do that. But A, there aren't many companies out here that I trust like that, and B, these people don't need my money like that. So,
you know what? I'm going to tell y'all something that I was when I was getting into playing 2K a bit. Now I don't play the park and all that kind of stuff. I usually just stay with my career stuff. But I was watching stuff about builds and stuff like that, about what I would want to do with characters. And I heard a mid to high, not super high level 2K YouTuber say this: when y'all buy this game at $60, I can't do that. I have to go in knowing that it's $90 up front or $100 up front. Right. And he said I buy the game, and then because of the virtual currency that's involved, I have to spend an extra $40 per character that I do for this YouTube channel. Per character, because of course in this year, when you have your little VC pool, your virtual currency pool in 2K, it doesn't cross-pollinate for your different characters.
That's so dumb.
Like each character starts from 0. And so like it makes it worse, because like before you can use that money, you could use that money on one character, get in there and grind with that character some VC, and then put it on another character and do another build. No, that's locked out now. It's $40 a pop once the game is purchased to make your character usable enough to make videos with.
Damn.
And when you think about just the DLC, because I know people, a lot of 2K fans have a lot of ire against 2K and what they've become in the area of the My Player section, and also the FIFA fans as well. Like, I mean, from what I read and from what I hear, FIFA is bad, like super bad. Like, it's crazy. Wow. I'm not a soccer fan, but the prices they have on some of that stuff is ridiculous. But I guess we can kind of get around about again. Let's start with Ace this time. Ace, when because you have kids.
Before you go there, can I make one point real
quick?
Oh
yeah, go.
The whole thing I was trying to say, and I guess I'll break out some of my business school language for cats. What it's doing, what this whole process is doing of getting money after the fact, is expanding the consumer elasticity, and it's expanding how much a consumer is actually willing to pay, and what's going to end up happening. They're going to end up pricing out people who game on the cheap. Pricing out people who don't really have a lot of money to delve as deep into this game and pastime that some other folks do. And it's problematic. And I don't like it. I don't like the companies telling me how much I got to spend on their stuff. Get your hands out of my pocket. Please continue.
Get your hands out of my pocket.
well, the point that I was going to make is that because this is sort of the next piece, and I know we have a lot of opinions on it, but really I'm of like two minds about it. But I want to get you guys' thoughts. Is that when we look at that type of stuff and we talk about the intervention and we talk about the free market, we talk about the customer, we talk about the companies that produce this content, you got places like Europe. Well, some places in Europe have actually created and enacted laws about, you can't make an app where it's going to, be sort of, I guess it streams over into gambling with microtransactions and everything.
Bro,
and
that 2K actually put gambling in their game after the loot box controversy. Like when you're in My Player, you go to this place and you spin a wheel to win a prize, and when you're in my team, there's like other kind of like gambling and actual gambling elements like this. I am actually spinning a big ass Price is Right wheel to win stuff, and like there's some sort of I don't play my team, but as I understand it, I've seen videos, there's like some sort of slot machine element of this, and like it's to the point to where it's like I've heard, I don't know how real this is, but like if you have packs, my team packs, because you open card packs to get stuff, they say if you have packs just sitting there and you ain't open them, you can risk being banned from the game by not opening your packs.
What?
Get out.
Yeah, that's crazy. If that's true, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean that element is a part of the digital landscape because developers are trying to make extra money out of it. And this is my base philosophy because I think the market should be free. And by saying the market should be free, meaning that not saying that people shouldn't be able to voice their ire and their opinions and everything, but if you're going to be, because I talked to Mandy, she works, I think she works for Game Loft or whatever.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how, like, when you look at games that are on cell phones or even small games that are free to play, over half of their incomes comes from these people that are called whales, right? And they go on, and they spend tons of money. They spend hundreds of dollars, sometimes, in the thousands of dollars on these games. And my thought process is, well, if you want to be crazy, you can go ahead and do it your own self. But where my stopping point is that if the game does not allow me to earn those things and I have to pay, that's when I take issue. Right. Battlefront 2, Battlefront 1, even Tomb Raider to a certain extent or whatever. And like even Street Fighter now, when you play Street Fighter, I remember going through Street Fighter 2 Turbo or Super or whatever, playing with playing with Gal or Ryu or whatever, getting perfects, getting first contact hits and everything. And I did it all to unlock Akuma, right? You unlock Akuma. When you play Marvel's Capcom, you unlock, Thanos and Bison and everything. That's not even a choice now.
Not anymore.
Like, remember, I'm gonna take you back a little bit. Remember when in the early days of like Halo 2 and early Gears, remember after 3 months the map packs just became free?
Right.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
because that was a way to keep people playing. If somebody wanted to pay to get in early, they got in early. But if you ain't want to put no money in this, then you got locked out. There were certain playlists that had these maps and stuff in it that you couldn't get in. And you couldn't get in. You just gonna have to wait. And you wait 3 months. Those maps are free. And it's like, hey, we're gonna come out with some more maps, and we're gonna do the same thing. And that's how they made their money. Right. And it seemed like way more honest about how they did it. And they just say, hey, at this point, it's just gonna become free, and you'll be all right. The craziest part right now is like we are bucking. We are like not as angry about this as we was about Horse Armor, and Horse Armor never lied to us.
Right.
Horse Armor never tried to deceive us.
They told you what it was.
They told you it's just a skin.
Armor for your horse. That's it.
It's just a skin. It don't do nothing. It don't make it's not any actual armor. It doesn't do anything for your horse, but it just makes it look pretty. And we was like, we're gonna make it look pretty. You want me to spend $5 on this? And it's like, yeah, now we spend way more on less.
Yep.
And then we'd be like, ooh, shiny.
Man, it looks good.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so I guess rolling from that, because Blue, you kind of said it earlier, but my frustrating thing is I would be more apt, and I literally have basically all but gone digital. My sons have Game Pass. I pay the $15 because if I want to play on their account, I log onto my PC and I can play all the stuff on Game Pass that I never got a chance to play before or whatever.
Right.
But they have Game Pass and they have a blast because they can play games, they can boot it up. But I'm now playing a monthly subscription, and they got me. You know what I'm saying? Because I got kids. I don't want to spend $60 a pop, but so they basically got me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so,
don't know parent our age want to pay for Minecraft.
Right, right, exactly. I'm not paying a dime for Minecraft, man, but in a way I am because I'm paying $15 a month to the company that makes Minecraft, right? Or that's actually exclusive to it or whatever, pushing it out. But here's my thing, and this is my frustration is that when I log on to Amazon or when I log on to GOG or Steam or whatever, when you look at the physical copy in the marketplace, or hey, we can send you the case and whatever, but it's gonna cost you $54.99. But it's like that's not the physical version; that's the digital version. But the physical version is like $30 or $15.
Right.
Yeah.
What the heck is going on with that? No other medium, and this is what I want to get kind of get into. When you look at music, price went down. Quality, you can argue quality as far as music taste and everything else. That's opinion. But the price went down. Books, the price went down. If you want the paperback version, the hard copy, the leather skin version, you're going to pay more. But it's like in video games, it's so weird as far as the pricing. The physical copies cost more than digital copies, and I'm getting less for my money.
Right. So, listen. So one of the reasons why the physical copies end up costing less than the digital copies is because retailers have limited amount of shelf space or a limited amount of storage space or warehouse space, so they have to move that out to make room for more hot things. Ain't nobody buying Brink right now, so they're gonna get Brink as low as they need to get Brink to move it out so they can put what just came out today, Doom, out there on the shelf.
You ain't gonna talk bad about Brink.
Too late, bro. Brink talk bad.
I don't like Brink.
Brink talk bad about it.
You lucky they never got around to making Brink work, because y'all know I would have spammed that check.
Man, whatever,
y'all
bro.
Gonna get on this Brink with your boy.
Right.
Nah,
I'm gonna go get Zabari.
That's what we got to part ways. I can't do Brink with you, bro.
But honestly, man. So what ends up happening, man, I see what you're saying, Knox. I mean, there is no physical hardware to be concerned with, right? There's no actual logistical complexity that goes along with digital pricing. However, that pricing just tends to remain high. That only generally happens. That only comes down when they run sales.
You have to specify on console.
On console, yes. On console, right. I was just about to say that. It only really happens on consoles when they do sales. In PC, you can pretty much always get it cheap, just because there are a lot of competitive marketplaces out there for that. But with console, there aren't that many. Like, where else are you going to get a digital version of God of War on PS4? there may be one other place outside of Sony where you can get that. And because of that, they hold a monopolistic advantage over that marketplace. It's just what they do.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
okay.
That what they do, and like when they do sales and stuff like that, is always something like real slimy. You know, this is something that I noticed. All right, if you go to Walmart, right, you can get a thing of ice cream. Let's just say $3.50 for a thing of some good ice cream. Not
the Blue Bunny that I was telling you about. The Blue Bunny was a Blue Bunny. Which one you finally figured out? You finally figured out was good. Was it It was a B brand. Bluebell.
Bluebell.
You finally figured out Bluebell was good.
That Millennium is my jank though. That Millennium Crunch, bro. I got the cookie joint in right now, and it has it's cookie dough and cookies and cream in the same ice cream. I'm just trying to tell y'all, I know yeah, so like what you call it? So like Walmart will have some ice cream and it's $3.50 for the jump. And then like you will go to a place like Food Lion and they will have a sale and it's like it's 2 for $7. But it's regularly like $5. But they make it 2 for $7. And you're like, well, with your sale, you just made it the same price as Walmart, right, except for I gotta buy 2 now. Right. And so that's what
out of you.
That's what these game companies be doing in their game stores.
But you know, I know this might sound like a really petty and niche thing, but don't ever count out the power of convenience. Because when people don't have to get up and they can just hit a button and then download it. Like the other day, like actually last week, my boss was like, "Man, I really want to get Borderlands 3. I really want to play it." And I was like, well, you know, you can just pick it up. He says, man, I'm about to hit this button right now. Just go on and get it. It's just the fact that they can just hit a button and it just downloads. The power of convenience, man, is no joke. If you don't have to go, if you don't have to be out there at midnight at night to get that game, you just be right there in your pajamas and download.
And I see that with my kids because, and this is what I talk about. You know, us going through this, and we've been able to be here long enough to see all this stuff change. Mm-hmm. And I talked to Blue about this offline, but I'll talk about it now. As we see cloud game coming, all these cost and prices and everything, my sons have never lived in a gaming era where digital currency, digital pricing, and cloud gaming did not exist. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they are already apt or prone to buy digital. And then like, look, we don't want a physical copy. Like, we got to get up now. Like, we got to go get the disc. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, bro, I kid you not.
See what I'm saying?
Bro, I kid you not. My kids were watching regular TV because, of course, the internet went out. And you know the internet goes out when everybody comes to the room that has a router in it. Mm-hmm. Yep. So that's usually my office. So so my son, he comes around. He's like, Dad, I don't know, what's going on. He's looking like very, very distraught. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? He's like, and we're trying to watch TV, but these, I don't know. It's like these little shows keep coming on, and they're fine because they're talking about toys, but they keep interrupting our show. I'm like, dude, that's commercials, man. Get out of my office.
You know what? Wow. I got two things. Someone said that she got tired of being ignored in her house, so she turned off the router, and it would look like the beginning of Beat It, where it's like, doom, everybody popping out from everywhere. But shout out to the Latino brother from New York Undercover. He's one of the first people that pops out from the side in the video. He was dancing. And then two, the craziest thing, like what you were just talking about, like our kids have never lived in this world. I was watching something when I had my daughter around Christmas time. We were watching something and something was old. We were watching something older, and somebody was at a payphone. And the look on her face when they were at a payphone was like the most perplexing thing ever. Like, she did not understand. Why is there just a phone in the middle of nowhere and you have to put money into it to use it? Like, the idea of a payphone was so foreign to her. She looked like I just tried to explain calculus. You know what I mean?
What do you mean limit? What do you mean limit?
Right. You know what I'm saying? But I started talking to my sons about, as far as gaming, I was like, do you know, man, because I won an Xbox One X via the Taco Bell thing or whatever, right?
Yeah, we know.
So I have a Project Scorpio. I have an Xbox One X in the living room. They have
a
an
50-inch in your bathroom.
S.
Go ahead, keep talking.
No, they have an Xbox One S.
It's 47. Don't let
I forgot. It's 47. It's 47. I forgot. My bad. Go ahead. Yeah.
Right. But my sons don't know about memory cards because they have cloud saves.
Wow.
So when
we that old?
Yeah.
I forgot. Let me tell you what happened with this cloud
listen. When they play Minecraft on their 360, they hop right over into my office and play it on Project Scorpio, and it downloads. When their friends come over for a birthday party, everybody's playing on everything, and they have no thought of even remembering to save because we have auto save, we have cloud saves and everything. Wow. So to speak to Ace's point, it is widely convenient, but are we willing to trade what's what we're looking for? Are we willing to trade our substance for convenience? Like
I'm going to say it's not
probably not us, but they will.
It's not that convenient. Let me tell you what happened to me. Mm-hmm. My daughter, like I said, I rarely use my PlayStation. It's not because I dislike PlayStation or anything like that. I just rarely use it because most of the people that I play games with are on Xbox. Mm-hmm. And my friends list on PlayStation isn't that large. And so, yeah, that. So my daughter, for her birthday last year, she wanted to play some of the PlayStation exclusives, like Detroit Become Human, and one of the other ones, the other game that's made by David Cage. I can't remember.
Beyond Two Souls.
Yes,
Beyond Two Souls. Yeah.
So like at the time when she played those during her birthday last year,
Heavy Rain.
I still had PlayStation Plus. So everything was fine. She played through the games. When she went back home, and my PlayStation Plus ran out. When she came back, all of her saves were gone. Mm-hmm. Because they were all cloud saves and is locked behind PlayStation Plus.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So she had to start over in every single one of the games that she played. Because it was like 3 or 4 of them that she really wanted to play, but those 2 most specifically. Right. So she had to start over because I stopped paying for PlayStation Plus because it didn't seem worth me paying for. Mm-hmm. And those cloud saves that we tout so highly are tied behind a paid system. And it shouldn't be.
Right. Concur.
Yeah.
It's Knox. As bad as that, we don't want to trade that. It's going to happen. Like I always look at the analogy of what was the name of that cartoon? WALL-E, where all those crazy obese people didn't have to get up, right, and they were doing everything with their voice.
Absolutely.
Man, if you were to go on YouTube right now and look at the many people that are making their homes like smart automation and anything to make it convenience. Like I said, don't underestimate the power of convenience. We probably have that mindset of the old disc, but this new age coming up, they don't want to do that. They just don't.
Exactly. Well, I mean, speaking of the new age, let's just go into platforms. And I don't mind about hopping over to many different types of platforms because we have, here comes a new challenger, mm-hmm. in the gaming industry. So we have PlayStation, we have Xbox. Of course, we have Nintendo, staple of the industry. But now we have players coming in, Google, Apple, and Amazon. And they have the capital. They have, for those of you who are listening,
sorry, he said Google.
Car just bust out when
I'm sorry. You said Google.
I was trying to be serious.
I mean, has there been a worse launch of anything
than Google Stadia?
On live? No.
Was the Jaguar
probably on live, but on live never claimed to be a console. They only claimed to provide a service, but at the time the service wasn't technical enough to get across what they were trying to imagine.
I think on live was hindered by internet infrastructure.
Right.
Yeah.
I have to say this with these new platforms coming out, and listen. I'm getting older. My kids are getting older. My money's getting tighter. I'm not saying I'm broke. but I'm damn sure saying I'm not rich. If that game can be played on my current system, or if I could get it, like Blue said, Blue don't even have to get the new console, the new Xbox. He's fine.
And I won't.
It's at a point right now where you start thinking, damn, do I want to keep running out buying these things? Because are they going to have more features or whatever? But damn, if it's going to play on my old console, I'm fine. I care less.
Yeah.
What do you guys feel about that? I mean, I'm just really curious.
People kind of poo-poo backwards compatibility. Like when they were talking about the backwards compatibility on the new PlayStation, people was like, well, why did he have that long conversation about that on that very poorly announced PlayStation briefing? Like, why did he talk so much about that? We don't need backwards compatibility. That's only for certain people. And it's like, bruh, I use backwards compatibility all the time. I would use it more if damn NCAA was still backwards compatible. I still got to turn on my 360 to play NCAA.
Yes.
But like, I think it's to that point to where it's like, once we hit the PS3 and the 360, the jump became less and less of a jump because you went from standard def to high def and all of this other stuff. Like the high def to 4K is not enough of a leap for most people. It's not. Like, they've said it years ago. Most people can't tell the difference between 1080 and 720.
No, they can't.
No.
So
no. Even the industry insiders, there was a GameSpot video where they got all those like elitist journalists who swore up and down that they could tell the difference, and they set up a PC, a PlayStation, and an Xbox, and they said, write down which one you think is better or whatever, and at the end of it, all of them got all of them wrong. Like, you can't tell.
Was that the one where they were all like PCs on 720p?
No.
It was a different one I've seen.
There was one of them where they had them play the same game and they had the same controller. Like, I guess they hacked they said that they hacked the controller so that it would feel like the same experience.
Right.
But like the different consoles supposedly had different resolutions of what they were capable of, and they were glowing about one, and like this one looked bad and all of that other stuff, and all of them were on PC at 720p.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like they basically just.
Do you remember Shadowfall? What was it? Was it Shadowfall? Where it was I don't think the game was in 1080p, but if they were touting that the game was in 1080p and they were going crazy over that.
Bro, when
the most beautiful piece of crap ever. Yeah, I remember.
That game was terrible.
when the Xbox One and the PlayStation first came out, I remember it was IGN, riding Sony saying, "Oh, Sony's 1080p, 720p is so much better," and they was like, "No, y'all got that wrong. We haven't even released the patch yet. Like the patch is going to be coming 2 weeks from now." They're both 720p, and so, but I think the biggest
person tried to sue,
and we can keep bouncing around, but I think the biggest person is like what Scar said a while ago, is that Nintendo hasn't cared about this whole entire power race for a long time, and they are catering to their audience. Now, granted, Nintendo has the most recognizable IPs probably in gaming, right? Mario, no doubt. Zelda, Metroid, Samus, these type of people or whatever, Smash Brothers and everything.
And I use my Switch only slightly more than I use my PlayStation.
And the one thing I will say about Nintendo, their titles are quality. I will give them that.
But here's the problem. Let's go back to an old conversation. Like, the prices don't change. Like, how long has these games been out and they still $60? There's games there. The Kairosoft, who everyone knows, I love Kairosoft games for the phones. Kairosoft games that I pay $1 for, $5 max when they first come out, or $12 for the exact same game on the Switch store. Each and every one of them. Game dev story is $12. Do you know how long it's been since I paid $1 for?
It's funny you say that. I want to buy Breath of the Wild so bad, and the game is like 2-3 years old, but it's still $60. I'm like,
$60. It's still $60. And the worst part about it is like the used games ain't even like the $5 difference. It's like
Yeah, Breath of the Wild on Wii U, because don't forget that came out on Wii U too, because I have it in the living room. It's still like $40. So,
Damn.
yeah, so
That's crazy, bro.
But that speaks to Nintendo's IP, and that speaks to their quality, and also speaks to their to the value of their brand. Nintendo does not have to. Their fan base alone, their consumer base alone, propagates 10 million sold every single game they sell. So Nintendo has had the luxury of having that strong IP and that longevity of having that strong IP. They don't need a Game Pass or a PlayStation Now.
But their biggest problem is their fan base's attachment to just those things. Because if you look at like attach rates, attach rates, like Microsoft is hitting everybody in the head with attach rates. Because like even these PlayStation zealots are not actually buying a lot of these games, and especially they're buying the Spider-Mans when they come out and stuff like that. But after 2 weeks, that game is dead.
Yeah, Link needs to talk. Damn it, I want to hear Link talk. Link ain't talk shit.
I don't even want to know what Link's
No.
I can do without that.
There was this Zelda television show like back in the 90s. I'm sorry, late 80s. And he talking and wasn't that good, bro.
Oh, no, it was terrible. It was terrible. I think he talked in the game. I think he talked in the game on the Neo Geo or one of those systems where he was on there. Bro, you don't want to hear that one.
We don't really need that. They got Urkel to be Sonic. You know what I'm saying? Like, really need
over and gone.
But yeah, man. But so I'll go back and say the things that we talked about pricing before, and then talking about the new competitors coming into the marketplace. The new competitors are here because of what the established competitors found last gen, and what they found is that recurring revenue is where it's at. What they found is that if I can give you something, if I can find a way to attach your digital games to another purchase that you have to renew either monthly or yearly, then that means I'm getting money from you every single month. You're buying into something to keep what you have. And
Game Pass. Game Pass is the best thing that Microsoft did this generation. Period.
For them, not for consumers, but consumers take a value out of it, but what do you own at the end of the day when you stop paying for it? Absolutely nothing but an experience.
It depends on what you personally get out of Game Pass.
Right. Well, absolutely.
What I'm saying is there's a difference between utility versus which is the amount of satisfaction you acquire from entering into an experience versus what do you actually own regarding property, right? Yeah. That's the argument that I'm making, and what Google and what Amazon and who was the other player that we mentioned? What they're
Apple.
And Apple, what they're doing is everything is tied to a subscription. So that recurring revenue is hitting them, because let's just look at the numbers of recurring revenue. I ran these numbers with Knox the other day, and hell, even I was surprised. So, Microsoft currently has 85 million, or at last count or whatever, right? 80. Let's say Microsoft has 80 million. Right, let's just go conservative.
Stay conservative with it, yeah.
Stay conservative. Microsoft has.
You know somebody gonna say something, so
right. So at last count that we can verify, Microsoft had about 80 million. I think they said 85, but let's just make it easy. 80 million customers. Okay. Now we know from old E3s, from prior E3s, and prior presentations, Microsoft said that their percentage of people who had a gold subscription, which is a recurring fee, right, was about 50%. They actually said it was about 75%, but we're being conservative here. So let's say 50%. So half of the 80 is 40 million. Now, there are two different packages for Game Pass, right? There's the $10 a month one, right? And then there's the $15 for the ultimate for the PC. Let's just say, and again, let's just apply the same 50% deal, because I believe that's what it is. I actually think it's a little higher, but let's just say 50%. Of the 50% of all Xbox consumers have it. So that's 20 million consumers. And Game Pass is $10 a month, right? So that's $120 a year. Let's just keep it conservative and say you get it on the deal and it's $100 a year. So you have 20 million consumers who are giving you $100 each per year. Okay? 20 million. That's $2 billion in revenue they've made in a year simply off of that.
Wow.
Simply off of that. So that is why you have Google, Amazon, and Apple entering this digital marketplace, because they see them ducats, yo. They not here. None of them have the expertise to present you and to be actual legitimate gaming options. We've seen that in Google's packages.
It's just like politics.
Yeah.
Like going back to the original thing. Like basically, they the Green Party.
Right. Exactly.
They the Green Party.
That's it.
Don't nobody hear nothing about the Green Party until the election.
Right. Exactly. So, but that's again, y'all. That's why we've had these this increased level of digital pricing, because you get to tie to your account and you have it all the time. But hey, those cloud saves are kind of locked behind this, and those auto updates are locked behind PS Plus. You know what I mean, and things like that.
And the fact that they put their exclusives on Game Pass too, it's like, that's hard to be like, damn, I don't want to leave Game Pass. I can just play Gears 5 and not pay for it.
Right.
I mean,
exactly.
So
well,
go ahead.
Well, I mean, okay. So when you talk about Game Pass and you talk about that extra added revenue stream, I'm a little bit selfish in terms of, like, I like that Microsoft is making money, or rather, I like it for the end result of what I thought I was going to get this generation. Right. And I'll say that as a person who owns now, I own 3 Xbox Ones and stuff like that and everything. So what I'm basically saying is, and we can do sort of a roundabout, is that when you think about stuff like Game Pass, and once your kids get grown and they get out of school and everything else, because we're talking about this right now, but we all began in 2009, right? So all right, baby, I love you, baby. You look good.
We love you too.
Right. I love you too, brother.
I know. Look at this. Look at this.
Damn, you look good.
Look at this. Look at this face.
Damn, you look good. Damn. Go
ahead. But I forgot I was talking about. Lord have mercy. Okay. So what I was talking about is that so I'm a little bit selfish, because once my kids grow up and they get jobs, they're gonna have their own Game Pass. Like that's coming off my credit card.
I'm with you.
That's coming off my credit card. And it's so funny because my oldest is 12, and we've been in a console cycle that's lasted for 7 years now, right? Yeah. From 2013 to 2020, right? So now when you look at this next upcoming thing, we got PlayStation, and it's sort of apt because we know what the specs are for the next PlayStation. We know what the specs are for the next Xbox, and we can kind of dibble and dab in this in and out. We seen Google Stadia. They tried. They came.
What you doing?
And they're still trying.
Shaking our head, Joe.
Yeah, I know. So
they trying. They trying hard,
but okay. So we know that the last generation consoles, the Xbox One and the PlayStations, were underpowered. And I was talking to Blue about this a while ago. I was trying to figure out how in the world did, just specifically Microsoft, how did they spend $3.2 billion with AMD, and they came into the game so underpowered? But then you figure out through Phil's conversations and interviews and the team's interviews that they paid for 2 SoCs, 2 system on chips through AMD. So they already had the Xbox One X in mind. Yep. PlayStation already had the PlayStation Pro in mind, meaning that they knew these consoles were drastically underpowered. Y'all already knew this already, right? Yep. 1.3 teraflops and 1.8 teraflops.
It's like they both had to wait until 4K became a thing. That's right, what my feeling is like. Look, we know 4K is available, but is it available in enough homes for us to drop this thing?
Right.
So Sony, I kind of don't understand. Do you think Microsoft, because it was Kinect, they were really banking on that thing?
No. I think that they paid that amount of money up front because both these companies knew these consoles were drastically underpowered, but they needed to get these consoles out because they had already promised it already, right? Mm-hmm. But here's the larger picture that I want to get into. So we look at these new consoles. These consoles have pretty much flipped the script. Yep. We talked about the power narrative in the very beginning, but I love that these consoles are so powerful. Blue's forte is all the engines, teraflops, and everything else. But when I see 10 teraflops and I see 12 teraflops, I have a Blue build my computer. He came all the way to Texas and built it for me. I don't know what's inside of it. All I know is GTX 1080. That's all I know.
DX12.
And right, right. DX12. But I know that video card is. I think it's like 7, 8 teraflops, something like that. I don't know whatever it can be. But all I know is that these next gen consoles that are coming out are more powerful than the rig that I built for $2,500.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So in terms of that, where do you go, gentlemen? You know, like, what does the landscape look like? Because it was always some sort of dig at console gamers. Oh, y'all the reason why we being held back. Consoles are holding PC back. We can't do whatever. But now consoles are getting back to the N64 days where consoles are going to be just as powerful as the vast majority, if not more powerful than the vast majority of PCs that are actually out there. So it's taken away that whole excuse, meaning developers can't be lazy no more. They can't make an excuse. They have all this overhead, and they have the power.
Not to mention both of them having basically a PC architecture.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that was also present this gen, but continue.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I guess I don't want to be the
for us, Ace.
I guess I don't want to be the Debbie Downer, but I'm not ready to jump that fast until you actually have a compelling reason for me to get it. If there's a game that's actually someone saying it cannot be played on my current console, it has to be played on this because of this, and this. That's why I'm not ready to make that jump that fast.
I would be lying if I said that was the case for me, because with me getting a new console, well, I never get these at launch. I never get them at launch. Mm-hmm. But like when I get it, is 100% going to be peer pressure. 100%.
You want to shoot more people in the face with your friends,
right? Like if my people don't get it, then I ain't gonna get it because I don't want to be out here by myself. PlayStation. I know. You know,
I'm with you on that because if all of you get it, and I'm like, Ace, you don't know what you're missing. I'm like, damn y'all, man. Yeah, that's a different story.
Like because of y'all, I wanted a 1X, and I was just like, no, I don't really want to put that into a 1X, right. Even though like I now have a 4K TV that I have no 4K content for, except for YouTube.
And Netflix, you know, you got Netflix.
Yeah, but I don't pay for the extra Netflix. You got to pay for extra Netflix for the 4K content. And I already got too many subscriptions, bruh. You know how many subscriptions I pay for?
Hashtag recurring revenue. That's what I'm trying to do.
When you were talking about that, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, like I pay for Netflix. I pay for the Hulu, Disney, ESPN bundle. I pay for the family plan for YouTube Premium. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got a lot of subscriptions, bro.
Yeah, and I'm trying to avoid Knox when he calls me like, "Ace, did you see that, man? It's got 10 teraflops." I said, "I heard it. Now leave me alone." And I have to hang up on his face, and I don't want to do that, but I have to do that.
Well, the reason why I'm saying it is because I'm in the same boat as Scar. Is that I'm in a very weird position. I guess you would say a privileged position that I have all these Xboxes in my house, and I have a PC that I built, so I can go the route of buying a video card for my PC and play on there because my library is with Xbox, and every Xbox game I bought, well, not every Xbox game, but you know, the majority of Xbox games that I bought, they transfer over to PC. I can download them. It's free. You know, I pay for it.
Game Pass Premium, dog. Give us an extra $5 on that.
I know. But
I pay for the premium and I don't play nothing on PC. Like
right, exactly. But now since PC is becoming more, I would say more console gamer friendly, I can literally, and I've literally just plugged in my Xbox controller to my PC, play right there. The only thing I don't like is playing in my desk because I feel like I'm back at
work. No, I feel you.
But I will say this though is that these next gen consoles, you know, about 40% of me is like, man, like it just like I just hate the fact that somebody's out there and they playing something that's better than me. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
the only thing.
And I got an Xbox One X, but I'm like somebody out there got an Xbox Series X, and it's just
look at Blue.
It's just a little bit clearer than I am. You know what I'm saying? I said 40% of me. I didn't say the majority of me. I said
blue is bluer than mine.
Man. Dog, I don't understand that, Knox. I don't understand.
Look at that water. Look at that water over there.
I know.
It's like I'm on the X. He's on the Series X. Like, Ace, you coming? I'm still loading, man. Can you give me 2 minutes? Right. I'm almost there.
Hey, and small side note. All developers, if you're listening, and all publishers, whoever, stop doing demos with water and cars. Okay, water and cars are the easiest thing to develop. They gonna look beautiful regardless, and we've seen water as far as it can go.
That's the easiest way to get dumb people. The same way that if you want it, like I'm gonna tell you, like the very first time you saw football in HD, what did you say? Look at that grass, like you know what I mean, like that grass, like yo, it looked like grass. Marks.
You see them hashes?
Do you remember the PS3 tech demo? Man, look at all them ducks. That's a lot of ducks.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Man, look, Knox. I hear you, man. This generation consoles are now taking a back. They're now taking the lead again because they're going to have the technological advancements that are actually extremely resource intensive and don't really appear in mass on the PC right now. Like ray tracing, right now, you can do it, but it's going to slow you down. And then it's right now
for the uninitiated. Can you please explain? Because I still don't understand. I have watched video after video after video.
You got to help us out with this.
I listen to Mark Cerny talk about ray tracing audio and everything else.
I don't even care.
And man, I'm sorry, but you gonna look. I saw it, but I'm like, it don't really impress me. Bro.
Blue, it looks like reflections. Give us some more insight on this.
Explain what ray tracing is.
Okay, so per the term, ray tracing is actually reproducing or tracing the path that light follows, the way it bounces or moves around from a source in your environment. So that's all it does. So the way that light bounces and moves around in a room, that's what ray tracing does. And what it does, you have to identify where your light sources are coming from, and then it runs tons of calculations to actually replicate realistic lighting in that regard. Now, what your boy Cerny was talking about wasn't just that, but actually using that same technology, because sound actually moves as radio waves and light travels as a wave as well. So you can apply that same technology to audio. That's what he's talking about.
Okay.
See, I'm still trying to understand bump mapping from Chronicles of Riddick. You know what I'm saying?
I knew that you were going to say something.
Oh, so what's that? 2006? What is that? I don't know.
Oh.
Damn, I remember that game. Yeah. That was a long time ago, that boy.
Yeah. But yeah. So in terms of ray tracing, it's going to make the environment. Basically, I guess in my definition is that it makes the environment, both the audio environment and the visual environment, trick my brain enough to where I can believe that this environment is real.
Right, that the lighting and the sound is real. Yes,
it brings it closer to how light works.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
And, and then when you add in bump mapping, you know what I'm saying? Everything
all over that point.
Exactly. Texture filtering. I don't even know what that is, but I just hear it all the time. So I know that there are tons of other podcasts and YouTube channels. We're not going to get into the minutia of these consoles as far as the technical aspects and everything. That's not what we're here for. We are here to talk about the state of the union in the landscape. And this is one major point that I wanted to talk about when talking about new consoles. And also, too, in light of the now, I guess it's considered to be a pandemic going on right now. And me and Blue was talking about this. And I'll just put my politics on Front Street. I'm a libertarian. So I believe in a free market capitalism. And I believe in, to a certain extent, there is some regulations that need to be had as far as government and everything, as far as the actual intervention. But having said that, in terms of, I don't believe it's smart to keep all of our eggs in one basket. And I know it's, first world problems when we're talking about video game consoles. There are people out there, and we do recognize that they need medicine, people need products and plastics and stuff that's being produced by China. I'm not talking about that. We're for the sake of video game podcast, let's just bring it here, is that there's a very real possibility that these consoles are going to be delayed, right? Microsoft said that it's going to be coming out of November, but then there's a rolling effect and there's a domino effect that it's going to affect. We know GameStop is all but out the door. They're going to go the way of Toys R Us. They're going to go the way of Radio Shack. They're going to go the way of Blockbuster.
Bruh, they are not shutting down their stores.
And I know.
And I saw an article where they are not getting their stores the hand sanitizer and the cleaning supplies that they needed to actually clean their stores. So they keeping their stores open, making these people work at damn near minimum wage, and they just having people come in and touch everything.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. I listened to a conference call. There's a guy, I think his name is Camelot 03 or Camelot 360 or whatever. Please put that in the notes whenever. But shout out to the guy. But he was a GameStop employee that worked there about 10 years, 11 years or whatever. He got access to a district manager call, and one of the girls on the line was like, "Hey, you know, when these customers come in here and they come in to trade controllers and things that people touch on, kids touch on, and everything else or whatever, are we going to, you know, require them to sanitize or whatever?" It's like, no, just go ahead, you know, just take it day by day, and just, you know, just go ahead and just
day by day.
I'm like, take what day by day? What you talk about? If I get sick, I ain't gonna be here day by day. What you talking about? You know what I'm saying? But I guess to the much broader point is that, you know, China produces everything we pretty much own, all the plastics, even some of the things that we, you know, have and that we like. When I look on the back of my iPhone, I was telling Blue, like, it says, the idea and the invention is made in Serpentino, California, but all the inputs, the components, the plastics, and everything else is all made in China. So, you know, when we think about that, like, that's really, like, not scary in terms of like, oh, let's panic, but as a luxury item, we are literally dependent upon another country to produce this content. And GameStop, being in the position that they are financially, they are dependent upon the consumer to be able to come and buy these consoles from their stores. So I guess speak to what you would, or rather what your opinion is about all that, and then we'll have a discussion about that.
All right. So if that was directed at me, I don't know if that was directed at Ace because he's gonna have to leave here soon. But
no, go ahead, Blue.
The problem is, man, yeah, it would be nice for us to domesticate some of those processes, but the problem is China simply has a competitive advantage for it. They can simply make it cheaper there. It's just that simple. And I don't know any of these companies, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, Google, Amazon, Apple, are out here to make less profit. And so if they were to bring it here, you're gonna at least double or maybe even triple the wage rate that you pay those people to make all of those products, those plastics, all of that stuff to go through that
because
fabrication
it's highly
process.
Specialized, and you need highly specialized people if
Absolutely.
you take it away from there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so go ahead.
No, and that's why, you know, why I'm sort of torn, because but I would tell you this, and this is not for any patriotic reason. This is just for sheer understanding of, you know, if I own the business, which of course I'm sort of in a semi partnership with somebody. If I made content, I would keep 50% of my production here, because something like this could always happen. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to be stuck out and not be able to provide that service or that content to my consumer. That's just me. Right. But I believe the companies need to make their own decisions. But in terms of a consumer, I do have a voice to say, hey, Microsoft, like, I understand that you want to save that cost, but me as a consumer, you know, maybe we can work something out to where we meet in the middle, like Canada, you know, where they pay a little bit more. Of course, not a little bit more. They pay a lot more than what we do in terms of the services and everything. Because one, I believe that would save us in terms of the hardware that we're using, because we're still using hardware. And in terms of this stuff is getting produced by someone that is outside of our jurisdiction, pretty much. We have a contract, you know, we shook hands and we signed on the dotted line, but they really ain't got to do nothing if they don't want to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was talking to Blue and I'm like, just look up the Chinese Range Rover, and I forget what it's called, but Blue, I think Blue looked at the price and it's like $15,000.
Yeah, it's
and they
cheap.
literally copied point for point, you know, bumper to bumper. It's it is a Range Rover. You know what I'm saying?
It is. It is.
Like, it's a Range Rover, bro.
The word, man.
Like, it's crazy.
Quality. So, but no, you're right. But again, that goes back to just that price, the enhanced cost is going to cost to make that here. You know, these companies are going to pass that cost directly through to us, and so So I understand why they don't do it, and in a way, I'm kind of grateful for it. But this is the price of doing that, right? This is the price of outsourcing your manufacturing, of outsourcing your components. This is the cost of doing business, man.
And you got to think of the population there too. I mean, that population has always been growing, will always grow, and that will always give them jobs. So
right. True, man. So, and again, man, what's going on now in our country? You know how we've pretty much everybody's quarantined at this point. That would have shut down. In this case, that would have shut down production here too.
That's right.
I mean, it would have shut down. Anything would have been shut down if we actually produced anything other than debt.
Valid point. And overpriced vehicles. I'm looking at you, Detroit. But yeah, man. So, Knox is on mute right now. But yeah, man. So I'm
paying $50 million for a 42-year-old quarterback. But hey, he might do something.
I mean, you never know. But that's the problem, man. That really is the issue, man. We do have an issue here. We as
you paid $50 million for a 42-year-old quarterback after your quarterback that you had finally got his eyes fixed and can see.
It's great. But no, man, just thinking about that though. No, it would be good. But as a consumer, man, we honestly don't have a voice anymore because the consumer in this particular industry is no longer united. So the problem is, even if the quote unquote consumer wanted to say something, we're gonna end up saying 30 different things, and we're gonna end up saying it on multiple platforms, and the message will be too diluted in order to actually make a point. So
the only time the community was unified was the one time that they caved Mass Effect.
Right, Mass Effect 3. So, but yeah,
believe it or not, that was the only time.
Yeah,
really unified. Yep.
So, yeah.
Now y'all was unified. We weren't as unified as we talking about, but unified enough to get some things.
Unified enough to talk about it and not try to. Really
no, I was fighting against Knox and his indoctrination theory.
You always fighting against Knox, though. To be fair.
We don't disagree as much as I pretend.
Okay. Well, let's see. So I know he definitely wanted to talk about that issue. I know that's something that was kind of weighing on him. But yeah, man. Let's take a look at. Let's see. So that's the manufacturing end of it. I know he wanted to talk about that. Ace, before you get out of here, let me see.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Knox, if you there, we're gonna shift gears. So what's more important to you when you look at the consoles, when you look at what's coming out, look at the capabilities of the new console, right? What's more important to you in regards to value, right? Graphics, is gaming difficulty or accessibility?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, for me, it's going to be content and what the console can do, how it can benefit me, regardless. Now, I know a lot of people didn't like to talk about this, and a lot of people think that this is minute. But with the Xbox One, I like the snap features. I like those things that provided me convenience. I could be talking to you on Skype while I'm still playing the game.
We got you.
Okay, good. All right.
I could be talking to you on Skype while I'm still playing the game.
So I didn't miss too much.
Not only providing value of the game, but providing value of as far as me as a gamer.
You can't hear Ace?
Ace can't hear you now.
I can't hear Knox
either. Talking, and then I guess Knox can't hear you.
Yeah, I can hear her
okay,
Ace
now.
now.
He's good. Now he's good.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, you good. So basically providing the features that I like, that's actually going to provide a convenience to me in playing the game. Like, I love the snap features. I know people didn't like that. But that, as well as content, constantly producing software for the system. And to be perfectly honest, giving the content a little bit of lifespan. As powerful as this thing is, and I know technology changes and expands with the future, if I'm going to pay $500-$600 for this doggone thing, I'd like to keep it for a while. I don't want to go ahead and trade off and buy something in 3 or 4 years. So that's what's important to me. I mean, is this thing going to complement my lifestyle? So,
okay,
go ahead.
It will complement your lifestyle. Okay, so you want the flexibility. Sounds like there's a lot of things you were talking about. You want flexibility to kind of do what you want it, kind of engage with this thing how you want it.
Think about it. When the Xbox One came out, that was so cool that I could be watching The Walking Dead, and when the game was ready, it popped over and said, "Hey, your game's ready." I could swipe back over to that game and start playing.
Yeah, and that was a cool feature when we had like you were saying, Ace of Snap feature, whatever. Like I know and I know they understand that not everybody uses Snap feature.
Yeah.
Not everybody uses picture in picture. But it was a real bummer for us that actually did use it. You know, Scar was talking about before the show started about the Netflix plugin
exactly
on Google, you know, and that party system. Like we used to use that, you know what I'm saying? And I think that in the translation of us being consumers and our voice being lost or being muddled with everybody else is that we're losing features that are very, very good for our community. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, bro, we could have been killing two birds with one stone by recording a podcast and having a Netflix party because Netflix is so prevalent now. You know, the reason why they took away Netflix parties was because Netflix wanted to get that money. But now Netflix is so is so prevalent. I mean, it's a household name. Everybody has a Netflix account. Like if you talk to somebody and say, I ain't got a Netflix account. What? You ain't got Netflix? What?
I always tell people I'd rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. It's just the simple. It's just the simple.
That's the pistol thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just the simple fact that nobody was doing that and it worked. You don't have to use the damn thing if you don't want to use that feature. Don't do it.
You know how much absolute hilarity came from some of the Netflix parties that we've had in the past, and like
that was cool.
One year we watched The Exorcist on Halloween, and we was just laughing at how bad it was. I mean, comparatively, how bad it was. It was like, y'all was scared of this, like, you know what I mean? Like, and that was the most fun I've ever had. And then like you know, with the plug-in, like there was years ago when I lost my job and my girlfriend moved up here to Richmond, and I was still in Hampton. We used the Netflix party just to watch stuff together and just to connect on that level because it did something. It did something to have us watching something at the same time.
Right. Here's my point, and this is I'm just going to end with this. Here's my point to what Scar just said. It gave me value. It gave me more value than just a gaming machine. I understand it's a gaming machine. I understand it's supposed to be that. I understand that's the focal point. But it gave me more value of why I paid that much money. That's just me.
And that was why they had that initial press conference that was panned, because they told you that. They told you it's more than a gaming machine. And it was like, well, no, I want a gaming machine.
Yeah. And I don't know how many times they said up front, you know, this is going to be more about the specs, about the console, what it can do, what our vision is, and then at E3 it's going to be games.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's another story.
Right. Well, what that kind of rose into the one of the last points is that E3, Gamescom, PAX East, PAX West, PAX South. What does that look like in light of everything that's going on with this, you know, COVID-19 virus? And also too, even before that, like numbers were dwindling. It was getting smaller. It was getting to the point to where they were only inviting VIPs, journalists, elites.
Let me ask you a question. Why did all of us stop going?
That's a good question.
I could tell you what's gonna happen though. I've already figured out how this thing is gonna work. Bro, you have a Twitch and Mixer and all these online streaming things, man, where when people actually actively engage, they get rewarded with like prizes and things like that. I mean, TennoCon, people for Warframe, they do it all the time. If you watch on a certain platform, everybody who signs up and watches, go in, link your account, get you some free stuff, man. Like, this is how it's gonna happen for Evo this summer. You know what I mean? If this thing isn't resolved by this summer, which let's hope it is. But if it's not, like, how you going to replicate that crowd? They're yelling when something happens. All you can do is get in a big like chat room or whatever and have people have audio coming in, right? You got to have a moderator to run it.
No, what you do, you know what you do? It's been done before. And I don't know why no one has ever done anything like this again. You set it up as a 1 versus 100.
I was just gonna say that,
where you have like the people actually playing, but like everyone else that's like in as a part of the spectators, like, and it's kind of the same way. There's an episode of There's an episode of Black Mirror.
I knew you were gonna go there because that's
where it's like that. There's a bunch of people that are they're in like their little rooms, but their character is represented as the person cheering or jeering.
Right.
That's
what's gonna happen.
Like for Evo, guess what? You just gonna have to run a whole bunch of cables, put them all on the same flow, but y'all gonna have to play from y'all room.
Shoot, when I was on Mixer and they gave me the Taken, I won the Taken King, and I just was in there for 5 minutes. I was like, well, shoot, let me keep watching these things.
Right.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like I think that it will definitely change because you got Microsoft and we didn't talk about this, but you got people and I'm sorry guys, but we are not picking on Microsoft, and I want you to know that because we all own Xbox consoles and everything else, whatever. But in terms of the decisions that they've made, but that's sort of beside the point. But Microsoft will sign. I think they signed Ninja for like $9 million. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. Like worker that had $9 million had been spent.
No, but there's more than that, bro.
Huh?
No, Ninja to a Mixer.
Yeah, it was like something. I mean, it was multiple $50 million.
It was like a $30 million deal, bro.
Yeah.
What?
Okay, yeah. So that's even worse.
You can give me that. I'll take it.
Right, exactly. But when you look at the landscape of where things are going, kind of what Scar point said is that things are going this way, but it does kind of suck in terms of like I wanted to be able to gather around my friends. I've never met Scar in person before. I've never met really a bunch of the people in the community in person before, but I feel like
have you ever met Ace and realized how short he is in real life?
Oh, would you stop it, damn it.
He be going on about that. He cannot believe.
But yeah, that is pretty much what I
messed up.
I would miss or whatever. But the Scar point was that I haven't all right,
forget you, damn it.
All right. But I haven't went to any conventions lately, mostly because of family, because of everything else. But also too, like when I think about it, I'm kind of jaded, man. Like because I've been there, I've done that. Like if I do go to a PAX South again or to a PAX East or whatever to meet somebody, it'll be for my kids, so my sons can have the experience of meeting people and going through the booths and everything and actually, getting that physical interaction. But it wouldn't be for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
because you kind of,
or if I go, like, I remember the last PAX South we went to, we didn't even spend time at the convention. Like we spent time talking with each other in the hotel room, going to restaurants, chit-chatting, talking about grown folk stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't even...
It wasn't a convention. It was a community.
Even that PAX East that all of us were at, or a lot of us were at, the most fun that we had was like in the restaurant where we ate breakfast.
Right.
Recorded stupid videos where we tried to convince the waitress that Ace Black was somebody famous. Like, and like the just walking down the street trying to find the restaurants because Blue was the only person looking all of this stuff up. Like the most enjoyment, it was like the camaraderie that and like the people that I met there and sitting in those cases, because once you get on the show floor, everybody kind of goes and does their own thing, and part of that experience is the experience that you have as a group activity.
Right.
It no longer became an overall group activity once you actually hit the show floor.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think that as humans, because the argument has always been made that gamers, they've always made fun of us with this classic gaming trope that that we're all just people that stay at home with our moms and we live in the basement and we don't have no jobs and we just got these neck beards and we're just doing whatever the case may be. But that's a lie, because everybody, and again, this goes back to the original point. If gaming is no longer niche, then everybody's a gamer. So if everybody's a gamer, then that classic gamer stigma cannot be leveled anymore, because we're all in it together, but we do different things. Like I was looking at the average gamer, quote unquote, on Facebook, and the average gamer is a 42-year-old mom that stays at home. You know what I'm saying?
My girlfriend is she plays a bunch of games on her phone, and she plays games, for a lot of her free time.
Right.
She would never consider herself a gamer.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, like she plays a whole bunch of phone stuff with a bunch of ads, and I'm like, why are you doing that? But she would never on that level consider herself a gamer, even though she plays games way more than I do.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like, and so they would argue that we're not social, but I'm like, we are more social now than I feel we've ever been. I just think that this transition from standing next to the Japanese kid in the arcade and you're trying to beat him and you popping your quarters in to now, gathering around each other. Because I mean, I feel like I told my wife, I said, I really don't have any friends. I said, but I feel like I know people like Scar and Blue and Ace and everybody else more than I know people in regular, everyday, close life. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I mean, I've called Scar. I've reached out to him about daycare stuff with my daughter and raising a daughter and everything, talking about different things in the past. I've reached out to Blue because we got sons and just different things outside of gaming where we have performed social things without ever even having that one-to-one continual interactive meeting or whatever. But so I think, in terms of that, I think that it'll grow and it'll be different, but it'll be, I don't know. I mean, in some sense, it'll be better, as far as the sociability.
Yeah, I think, and a lot of it is, I've said this on many occasions, and I didn't realize this until that PAX East where everybody was there.
Yeah.
Is like, you're friends with these people online, and like you don't realize that through your online interactions and being on podcasts and all of this kind of stuff, you don't realize how much you actually really do know these people. Like we talk about anonymity and all of this kind of stuff, but the people that you're closest to actually like are themselves in these spaces. And like I ended up in a hotel right next door to Blue.
Right. Right next door.
And when we saw each other for the first time, like it was as if like I still knew Blue.
Yeah.
I didn't know how short he was, but I knew Blue.
You're always talking about someone. I was like, damn, that Scar thing. I was like, damn, you got to be here.
But I guess we can sort of roll into, I guess, this last one. I'll start it off, but I want to make this kind of thick. Like I don't want this to be like a farewell.
Hold up, because we only asked Ace what he was looking for when it comes to these new consoles, and I just wanted to give a quote from the great hood philosopher Lamilton Tayshawn. I want to do hood rat shit with my friends. That's all I really want to do. And like the new console,
okay, Scar.
And they want to play games. I just want to get in and do stuff with my friends.
Scar, I'm so sorry. You have to give the listening audience context about LaShawn.
Lamilton Tayshawn.
Oh, Tayshawn, yeah,
was a 7-year-old who took his grandma's car on a joyride. And and his character was also portrayed in the Boondocks.
Yeah.
The smoking with cigarettes episode. That was a lot of that was based off of real like web and viral clips.
Right.
So like, and like that. They asked him why he did it, and it's just like, I just want to do the rest stuff with my friends. Like it wasn't like it was. It was like really simple, but I look at it as like he's like a ghetto philosopher to me. You know what I mean? Like
that ghetto Freud.
Oh my gosh!
You think about how much you do with like, I know like some people who like get with their friends and they go to the bar and they drink and they have a good time and stuff like that. And it's basically that same thing. It's like, why do you go to the bar all the time? Because I just want to hang out with my friends and just kick it and just have some fun. And it's just the same concept. It's just in a hood way. I just want to do hood rat stuff with my friends, but like it's the same thing. And I think that's what's going to lead me to the new consoles when they come out. Now, it's probably going to be some time before I get the PlayStation. I'm definitely not getting the PlayStation first this time. The PlayStation, I got the PlayStation first because I got a bonus. It was $400, not $500, and that was the difference in the prices at the time.
Right.
But I think it's really going to be about my friends and my family, because I play a lot of Division with my cousin right now, and it's about like,
please share the games. Boy, that saved us a lot of money.
Absolutely. And it's just about it's about that aspect of it. It's more of a social thing to me, because I don't really enjoy playing console games by myself. I don't like playing versus. I would rather play co-op, but it's still a communal experience that we're having.
It's funny that you said the hood thing, because I remember me, Blue, we was all making like little like team up saying, okay, what game you getting? I'm gonna get these 3, you get those 3. I mean, we kind of get met up and was trying to find which games we're gonna get because of the game sharing feature. So you're like, you get 2, I'll get 2. No, I'll get 4. And you get these 3.
Mike and I did that. We did that. I'm like, Mike, I'm picking up God of War. He was like, cool, I'll play it.
Exactly.
Like, cool.
And then I played it for a good couple hours and I ain't never touched
well, yeah, I think it's a combination of everything. As I get older, my gaming habits are changing. I like different things. I used to play games sometimes that I did not like because I wanted to, I guess, impress people. I used to play games that I didn't like or wasn't too fond of because I wanted to have that gamer score or that trophy, to show it off to people and show how much I did. But like now, I'm like, I don't care I don't care if I have 10 gamer score on a game. Right. Like if I'm having fun and I'm playing the same mode every single time, I don't even care no more. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like I have totally changed in that aspect, and also too, I'm pretty sure all of us can speak to this, but I want to get a little personal with mine. Is that everybody knows I work for a large company. Forget it, I'll go ahead and say it.
The CMB.
I work for Bank of America for almost 10 years of my life. Put in time, did everything from every single executive level that you can think about, and I was in a very not bad place, but when I lost my job, man, like I was knocked down a lot, and I'll just be honest, and I'll just say, thank you to God, and also for putting a lot of people on this call in my life, is that me and Ace was game sharing, you know what I'm saying? So there was a long stint where Ace would buy games, and I'm like, man, I don't know how I can thank you, bro, because I was going through tough times, and I'm like, I'm still able to have this luxury.
Yeah, he used to call me and be like, man, go ahead, Ace, get that game, man. You balling so tough. I'm like, all right, man, I get it, man.
But I was joking, but I was like, man, like I really appreciate the game sharing feature, because that got me through a lot of tough times. It was a little bit of levity in that dark place of having to try to find a job, having to try to relearn skills. And even now, like I'm in a pretty nice position, and the business venture that I'm doing is somewhat successful. But I'm like I said, I'm pretty sure that we all can speak to that. But it's like those things put into perspective a lot of stuff for you. At least it did for me. And I'm like, some of this stuff just it's not as important to stay on Twitter arguing with people. Right. It's just not as important to invest in a conversation that's going to last me 2 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours of my life, when it's not going to come to anything. And I'd rather invest those conversations into people that I actually love. And I'll put my feelings on Front Street. Like I mean, I love y'all, man. Like I mean, we've discussed things that are personal, that are close to us. We have endured, people losing jobs and family members, and I mean, just crazy amount of stuff. So I'm like, why would I invest any time into a game, into a person that I don't know, I'm never going to see, rather than investing in games that I do enjoy, that I'm going to get, fun and actual enjoyment out of. And I think that that's been my perspective since like 2014. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just,
I think I went through something not similar to you, but like at one point, my life got completely changed. And it was like on top of that was losing my job at a certain point.
Right.
And like, and I had the same thing, like the same thing that happened to you happened to me. If it wasn't for like the people on this call and the people that are in the chats, and I had another chat that gave me the idea for the chat that we had. I had another chat with some more people, and like there were days where I was depressed and like things were just falling apart and I couldn't sleep and stuff like that. And there was a couple of people in the chat that work nights, and they would always be there to like just to be able to talk to. Like if I wake up in a cold sweat at 3:00 in the morning, I know I always have somebody there to talk to. And like, and it wasn't just about like the gaming and stuff like that, because a lot of the people that are a part of both chats were from people that I played games and podcasted with and stuff like that. A lot of those people came from those places, and like that is the power that a community could have.
And it's the power we still have too. It's just amazing, man.
But the community at large doesn't have it. No,
we have that. Right. Because when I lost my job in Knox Blue, y'all remember that, how depressed I was. It was just when y'all sent me that text saying, "Hey man, we got you the Assassin's Creed, the Unity, and Black Flag," stuff like that touches you. I'm like, man, we know you kind of hard up for money. We went ahead and put this together for you, stuff like that. But my wife even told me, like, baby, why'd you stop the game nights? It just wasn't it wasn't the fact of the game. It was the fact that we were all together, like we were at a bar, hanging out, chilling and talking.
But then like we also do like stuff on the opposite side where I actually let Blue use my kills on Shadowfall, and I didn't really want him to return it, like that kind of stuff.
And I returned it because I was like, "Here you go, dog." And then he was like, "Oh, that's cool." That's cool.
I'm gonna send it back. I'm gonna send it back for real. No.
I think the most touching thing we did was when we got Blue the Xbox, though. That was
that was hot, man. I was because I was hanging back this generation. I was not jumping in. I saved up all the money I needed for PS4, but then the week of, they were like, "Well, YouTube ain't gonna be here on Jump Street." And a couple of other features ain't gonna be out here on Jump Street.
Do you know how long it took me to get the YouTube app? You know how long I was complaining about that?
I was talking about that YouTube app forever, boy.
Like, you doing facetious. But yeah, then I was like, okay, well, I got money. I'm just gonna go ahead and build a PC, and I did. And I built a PC, and I was gaming, and I missed being on the game nights with these fellas. And they got me the Xbox One. I mean, it was like $500.
Me and Knox was fighting over your address day by day, boy. Yeah. Like, no, that's not what he stays. And me and Knox was just going at it, like,
But it was great though. It was great.
But see, that's the beauty, and that's why I want to lean on this before we get out of here, is because that's the beauty in it. Is that through life experiences, we have, in our own way and in our own differing ways, found value in what we hold to be what's valuable to us, right? And I think that's in gaming just in general, right? We always poke fun at each other. Sega does what Nintendo and Xbox and ponies, Sony's ponies, or whatever the case may be, or whatever. But we never took it to a level that we saw other people taking it to, and still taking it to. Like we said, dudes that are 20 years my senior is still talking about this type of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
We never took it. We never took it like the way that liberals and conservatives talk about each other.
I'm going to add to this now is some of the people that every once in a while I still game with, like Knucklehead and whatever. They still ask me, when are we all going to get together again? They miss that stuff. This is a side note. I found out why. This person was stalking me on 3 consoles. That's another story. But I found out why. He misses us being together. Mm-hmm. That's why he does. That's why he's still looking for that.
Right.
And people still look for that. When we were playing the Division 2 and we were getting killed and it was fun, and we were trying to do it, and people just jumped in the party just to hear us. That stuff right there. They don't want to hear that console war stuff on Twitter.
And
it's just that stuff.
It's hard to it's hard to find something real, and even when we're talking about, and that's kind of that's kind of crazy when we're talking about finding something real when we're talking about gaming, which we play imaginary stuff all the time. But I think that the outer surrounding elements of the community of what we've made
is the Division 2 imaginary as of right now.
I know.
Absolutely not. I'm telling you, we got an Aaron Keener in this world somewhere sitting around here laughing.
Yeah, but like one thing that I was one sort of to talk about is just for me, when I look at the next gen consoles, like I'm really at a loss. I don't know what to buy. Like, and I'm sort of the opposite of Scar. Like, I buy consoles when they launch, every launch. This is the first generation, and of course, I'm going to show my fanboy flag here. Yep. But it's not really, right. But this is the first generation where my wife sat me down and she said, "Do you need a PlayStation?" She said, "You play with your boys all the time." She said, no, seriously.
Getting serious, boy.
She said, "You rarely played your PS3." She said, "It sits over there now, and you use it as a Blu-ray player." She said, "We watched some good movies on it, but you didn't never play it." And I was like, she's right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, and I got the money now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can drop $400.
Oh, we know that, man. You got the 50 inch in your car.
Yeah, he ain't got his camera on, but when he said that he was body rolling, it was like, you know what I'm saying?
throwing money in the fireplace, saying, "I got the money now." You know what I'm saying?
It's like pop locking, like, you know I got that.
Yeah. No, I'm like Dave Chappelle. He got over pregnant. She called him. She said, "Dave, I don't think we're gonna be able to do this." He grabbed that money and put it on his chest. Oh man,
I'm almost taking the Scar approach of it. I'm not running out to get it at launch. I mean, personally, but what do y'all think? I don't know what y'all are gonna do, but I'm not gonna run out and get them at launch. I can tell you that right now.
Yo,
the only reason why I would buy it anywhere near launch is because it's backwards compatible, and if I can still play what I'm playing.
Yeah, I think
that's the only saving grace for like my even remote interest in either of these new consoles.
Right, exactly.
Well, actually, one of them I ain't really that interested in the other.
Right, just call it what it is.
Well, I'm interested in it because of the fact that there are always new experiences that we come in contact with. Even though this generation, I've been sort of disappointed, really, with the whole generation, because I felt like, and this is my own personal thoughts. I don't speak for the group whenever I say this, but I feel like, and it's going to be a broad stroke, and it's going to be very, very harsh. But I feel like in terms of games, I feel like this generation is an utter failure because of the fact that both Sony, Microsoft, and everyone in the community were chasing resolution dreams. Yes. And now there's a new conversation being started up about hard drive speeds. Solid state drive speeds. This is ridiculous. We're talking about load times. We're talking about pushing memory. Like, come on, bro. Like, stop it, bro.
When you have a presentation of a new console in 30 minutes is designed around a hard drive. even for a developer, which it was intended for. The 30 minutes of a presentation was around a hard drive.
I wanted so badly to say I disagree, but I can't. We just had a mid-gen refresh, and we're still disappointed. Yeah, really.
So I think what happened is, and what I already said. I said this in the chat already, but like if you look at it, and this is what some of us have been saying for a long time. The focus on power stagnated innovation.
Yeah.
And we needed innovation. We needed something new. And the only thing new that came out of this generations was new ways to get our money.
That was it.
Yeah.
New revenue streams is what came. Every generation introduces something new.
Exactly.
The 360 really capitalized. Now, the original Xbox really introduced multiplayer gaming, but it was the 360 that took it to a different level. parties and things like that. So now you have that, right? And then toward the end of that, we started coming out with patches, right? Because then, the original Xbox 360 was only like 20 gig hard drive, right? You know what I'm saying? Or it was a no gig hard drive and then like a 20 gig hard.
It was a no gig and a 20 gig. You
and
got
a 20 gig. And then it kicked up, and then people figured out I could buy a laptop SSD and put it in there and make it any hard drive size I want.
Bro, I still got my 512 memory card right now. It's right here. It's right here.
Right there, yeah.
I still got a 512 right there.
Right. But the multiplayer came through, and now this generation, what was found and what was discovered is that you can keep giving the consumer the exact same thing in a slightly different package, and they're gonna pay for it.
Right.
Better yet, they'll pay for it, and they'll pay for continual access for it instead of actually outright owning it. And we'll make them pay for it monthly.
You know what this generation is? I got the best. I bet I got the best analogy. this generation, the gaming industry.
Hide your kids, y'all.
Read the book by Iceberg Slim.
Pimpin'.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Why is this? Go ahead, Alex.
Well, one game of this generation that I have a love-hate relationship with, and I think that speaks volumes throughout the era of this generation, is the Assassin's Creed.
Oh, I thought it was Halo
franchise. No, I mean, well, you can say too, but I think the Assassin's Creed franchise is more apt because you have Unity that came out. It was completely broken. It was terrible.
Absolutely.
It was a meme for like the first 2 months. You know what I'm saying?
The face.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah,
like then they passed
Andromeda.
it, and then they passed it to death and everything else, whatever. Then you had whatever the next one was or whatever. But it was like they were making these things, and it's like, look, bro, I don't want a bigger world of Assassin's Creed.
Right.
Just fill up the world that you already gave me already.
Right.
Stop making it bigger. I don't care about the seven sands of the desert in the Sahara over there. I'm not going to even see that. Like, just fill up the areas that I'm in now. And I think that was a, but then Ubisoft took that to heart, and they basically used the same map from Far Cry, and they made Far Cry Primal, which is a different game, but basically the same map. And then they made Far Cry Blood Dragon using the same. And this is, this kind of goes back to Ace's point. It's like, but what do you do when you have an interview with IGN and GameSpot and whatever podcast you go on, and the first question they ask you is not about, what did you guys do to develop this thing that made the game better? It's about, have you guys figured out where resolution is going to be at? Can you guys do 4K?
Yeah. Why are they so consumed with power?
It's like when you go back to the studio, you're not focused on adding those 16 other people in this scene in. You're focused on hitting a target number, and we suffer because of that, and gamers suffer because of that. And so, as far as my personal predictions, like, I think it's going to be about power, but I love the fact that these consoles. Okay, I predict that these consoles are powerful, and that because they are so powerful, and because there's nothing to really argue about, hopefully, I pray that small minority, that loud minority people who are very, very vocal will be sort of out of the conversation, because what they're arguing over is so minuscule, right? So I like the fact that they made these consoles as powerful as they could, so that way that takes away the conversation and it frees the developer to be able to do what they want to do. And so I feel like we've gotten over the hump of 1080p, over the hump of 4K. And so now developers can take a breath and they can develop games that actually,
is that going to actually change anything? When
that's my hope.
When the biggest problem is everyone chose their side. They chose their side, and they're just riding for their side. And
but the lines are being blurred now. You got all
the lines are being blurred. But like, let's be honest, like, a lot of the problems have come from the fact that, especially this generation, people have 100% chosen their side.
I agree.
And they're not budging. And no matter what, the fact that it took you a couple of years to get a YouTube app doesn't matter because I chose my side on
Hashtag salty.
and the pieces,
salty.
And the pieces of the puzzle that you got to take out of there. People are still going to keep watching Digital Foundry.
Yeah.
I guess what is your your thoughts and I guess your predictions for this next generation, because we always do this and
I don't want to predict anything. You don't want to know my hope. I hope that we are finally getting closer to our one console future.
Hashtag, that's what I was gonna say. Dennis Dyack, like that's what's gonna happen. The man has been proven to be more and more right. Every 6 months, he's like, oh, okay.
Okay. When you say one console future, do you mean different manufacturers, but nothing disparate between where you play?
That's what I see.
I think the different manufacturers will be a problem because, like the Microsoft Playbox and the Sony Playbox are still going to have those issues with each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that as long as there isn't a real difference in the Playboxes, we will be okay.
Right.
But I think this whole battling with each other over consoles is foolish, and I think it should be ended. Someone should take both consoles out back and shoot them, and it's like, okay, like, yeah, before y'all shot, like, we made y'all have sex and make another box, and we we took some genetic material and we decided that we were going to create something else.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So that is also probably one of my hopes, but my predictions, things that I think will more likely happen is what'll happen is that we won't maximize the capacity of these consoles for at least 2.5-3 years. It's going to take a while before people can get the amount of power that
shift.
It's going to be a while. It's going to be a while before we get the amount of power that can support the power of these consoles, get a game that can maximize the capability, the potential of these consoles. I think that's going to be the first thing. I think secondly, the easiest thing for anyone to do is to try to jump on their side, and I think that's going to happen out the gate, and people aren't even going to hear about the other side. Yeah. So I just don't know. I don't know how PC gamers are going to stand in this, but I know for me, my prediction from my own behavior is that I'm going to wait and see, and I'm going to wait and see what the PlayStation 5 does. Because I can play everything Microsoft has on my PC and enjoy the world out of it. So that's what I'm waiting on. I'm not in a hurry to buy a box. I'm not in a hurry to buy a $50 or $60 a year gaming subscription. I'm not in a hurry to do that. And so that's what I'm going to do. If most of this stuff is going to come out playable on the PS4, then so be it. It will rock on my PS4 Slim under my TV until I get a PS5. And that's only presuming that underpowered console will be able to do some magic, right? So, but I think that's where it's at. And also, they will outperform PCs for a long time this generation, at least until the Radeon cards from AMD come out for PC later on.
Bro, Digital Foundry had to get a 2080 Ti in
order
to match, or rather build a box that would beat the Xbox Series
X. That's a $1,200 graphics card.
People. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's
$1,200 graphics card.
So I'm for me, that's the reason why I'm torn. Yeah. Because I'm like, and this is a problem with these stupid ecosystems, man.
Yeah.
I'm stuck. Like, if I want to jump somewhere else, I'm going to have to take a long look or long thinking process, because I'm like, gosh, dog, I got this whole digital library, and if I move, it don't work over here, or I can play with my friends over here. I'm like, gosh, man, like, And they got
you move to the PlayStation side, and PlayStation is gonna show up to your house, and somebody from PlayStation is gonna pat your pockets. What you got, dog? What you got on you? What you got on you right now?
My grandma giving them games.
My grandma giving them games.
He's gonna cry in the car.
I think what needs to happen, that's you're talking about what needs to happen from the industry's perspective, but I think from the community perspective, I think we all need to grow up, but not just grow up in the sense of like we need to start acting like adults, but like that part in your life when you grew up and you actually like understood your parents, and you also understood that your parents aren't as flawless as you thought they were. I think that's what the industry needs to do, and understand that whatever side they chose, whether you were a single parent household, and you believe everything your mama said about your dad, or the other way around, like you need to realize that they are not as infallible as you thought, and that is a part of your maturation process. Like that is a part of your process in becoming a well-functioning human, is understanding that your parents, in this case the gaming industry's parents, are Sony and Microsoft. Let's not make any mistakes here.
I mean, Auntie Nintendo doing it though.
Yeah, Auntie Nintendo is always going to be Auntie Nintendo. And when she show up, is always fun and games and stuff like that. But like, let's be honest, Auntie Nintendo will butter you up, give you all the candy and sweets and stuff like that, and send you back to your parents, because that's because Auntie Nintendo ain't got no kids and don't want no kids. So she always gonna butter you up and send you back to your parents, because your parents is where you're gonna really get the real about who you are. You're gonna get that from them.
Do you guys think PlayStation is going to do the same thing where they say you cannot play this game unless you're on a PS5?
No, I think that they want to do backwards compatibility, but I don't think that they have the development team or the wherewithal to be able to do it. I think that's the simplest answer.
Let's be honest, PlayStation Network is barely holding together. Like it's, let's be honest, they had so many iterations and so many chances to actually put in the changes that they needed to make for the PlayStation Network. And there was no comparison between that and Xbox Live. There was none. There was no comparison. The only reason why PlayStation Network became what it was is because they gave you games.
Yeah. Well, I think that's more of a network issue, but I think in terms of backwards compatibility, I think they have some serious issues with trying to convert PlayStation 3 games and even some PlayStation 4 games because of the architecture. You know what I'm saying?
But backwards. Back to them trying to force you into PlayStation Now. If they would have did what me and Blue talked about this years ago, if they would have put PlayStation Now in the subscription, they wouldn't be having these issues. Right. If it was a part of the subscription, the way the Game Pass is a part of the subscription with Ultimate, and you get the Xbox Live and all of that kind of stuff in the subscription. If they would have did something like a Game Pass Ultimate and put that into their console, they would not be having any issues with backwards compatibility.
With the exclusives they have, that would have been a fantastic idea.
They would not be having any issues, but they wanted to push PlayStation Now, and they wanted to push it at a price that most of the people were not willing to pay. Hip Hop Gamer said this is too expensive, and do you know what that means for Hip Hop Gamer, a name I haven't spoken of in a very long time? But Hip Hop Gamer at the time said this is too expensive. What are you doing? And for him to say there's a problem with this is a significant problem with your base.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, I'll basically end off with this, and I'll let y'all end off with this. There's a meme that's been going around for a long time, and it has like three, like not stick figures, but like three drawn figures, and two people are sitting down playing games on whatever they're playing games on, and they're having fun. They're smiling, they're laughing. And then the person behind him just has this scowl on his face. He's just upset. He's just angry, upset, and mad. He's pacing around, walking around. He's yelling, hollering. And then so finally at the bottom of the last chart of the meme, it says, "Stop having fun."
Yeah.
It's like who cares? Like they chilling, they laughing, they sitting with each other chilling, and this person can't even enjoy the fact that they having fun with each other because they're pacing around because they're upset about what they're playing on. Or
and it's not even just that. It's like, I mean, look at the Star Wars community right now.
Right.
Like,
oh, man, bro,
Bruh.
I still get suggestions to watch these I'm going to flame the Last Jedi videos all the time when I just watch one review after I watch the movie, and I still get suggestions on YouTube, my beloved YouTube, for those things. Like, it's crazy.
but not on PlayStation 4 though. But talk about the YouTube suggestions.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it's a shame, man. It's a shame because I talked about it a long time ago, back in 2007, before we even started a podcast, and I talked about buyer's remorse and how a lot of people feel like in order to justify the money that they spent, they got to put down somebody else, and that has worn thin. We put up with it all the last generation, and unfortunately, at the beginning for this generation, before they could even sell a console, it had already kicked back off. You know what I mean? With this is how you trade a game, things and such like that. And so I find it problematic. So I'm not a fan. I don't look forward to the community coming along in this generation. Only I would say the kids, the younger generation coming into gaming, the younger people coming in, moving the average age and the curve down. I would say they would be a refuge, but they don't really understand what. I mean, like we talked about earlier, your kids don't know what a memory card is. Like, so I think we can't rely on them. So that's just my 2
They
cents.
don't understand the value. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, don't understand the value of a memory card or the value of having to have the game work, because you ain't gonna get 30,000 games a year. You know what I mean?
Know what to do with her life when the Wi-Fi goes out.
My kids are the same way.
Her life,
same way.
Wi-Fi goes out, she is distraught. Like, for real.
I
had my son tell me the Wi-Fi went out. That's impossible. What do you mean that's impossible?
Oh, that's crazy. All right, fellas. Well, I don't know how we want to end this, but I thank God for all you fellas, man. This has been a blast, talking and getting stuff off our chests. We'll keep doing what we do, but I don't know. I'm so grateful for so much, and just going forward, man. I just like the fact that I have a cohesive group of people that I can confide in and bounce ideas off of, and they can talk me off the ledge when I'm about to go spend $1,000 on something I don't need to. Yeah,
$1,000. You know that purchase is $1,000, no matter what the console costs.
Right.
Now.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. But I'm just grateful, man. And if anybody wants to catch me, I'm Knox Broadcast now. Now I'm Knox Broadcast everywhere. So PlayStation, Xbox, Twitter, Facebook, whatever. I'm Knox Broadcast everywhere. So I'll leave you with that, and just stay safe, people.
Wash your damn hands.
Twice.
Sanitize.
Ace, go ahead, man.
All right, man. I thank God for y'all too, man. I know I need to kick back up them game nights because we had a good time. So I'm definitely going to start that back up. Hell, we could do it tonight if y'all want. But I just want to say, hey, I'm glad we have our circle. And for the people out there, man, that still that game, but they don't take that stuff seriously. Hey, I just had love to have you in our camp because that's what we do. And shout out to everybody watching. Shout out to all the people OFR. I know they're just doing their 500th episode and everything. And man, it's just amazing how far we've come. How long I've known y'all, man, for years. Y'all like brothers. Y'all like family, man. It's just amazing. I mean, my child, both. I don't even think my kids were born. That's how I knew how long I've known y'all. So just want to give y'all a huge shout out for that, man, and much love to all y'all, man. Y'all fam.
Right.
For sure. Look, man, I'm say, I tell you guys all the time that I'm grateful for you. I don't talk to Mike much as often, but when I do hit him up, I'm like, Mike, how you doing? He be like, man, I'm good, B. So as long as he say he good, I'm like, all right, he good. Yeah, man, I'm really happy to have you guys around, man, be in my circle. Man, it's just cool because I always go to Ace and Knox, man, when I got a spiritual issue. But when I need a different perspective, I definitely go to my dude Scar, because as much as we have we think a lot in common, like we are very, very, we look at issues from different perspectives. Like we kind of saying the same thing in the end, but how he gets there is different. So it always forces me to expand my thought processes and think about things in a different way. I actually saw the problem the other day. I was like, what would Mike say? And then I came up with like something random. I'm like, you know what? I probably should do that. So yeah, man. But yeah, we need to kick up Facetious again, man. I'm no longer like volunteering at the church, so I have way more time now. And so yeah, man, we're gonna have to do something again, just because it's fun being out here with people that I consider my closest friends, and we out here sensibly doing this thing and having a good time. So if y'all want to come along and join that, then definitely hop in with a game night with us, man. But it was fun to get back behind the mic again and just let it go. So, all right, Scott.
Man, look at here. Let me talk to the people. Like, no, first of all, on the lower level, like, of course we fam, like, that's on the baseline. And it's not just like the people that are here right now, like like I just started recording segments for the return, kind of a weird relaunch of EDG, the brothers over there. And nice. And like, the Scarcasm has been around for 10 years as of like mid-February. So I've been doing this for 10 years, and it feels a little weird to just be able to say, like, I'm still here doing the same thing after 10 years. But there's a certain connection that I have to this, and my connection to this is y'all. And the reason why I want to be able to have these conversations is y'all, not just like the people that we consider fam, but like the family that's not saying anything, that's just listening. Like it's a lot, and there's a lot that comes with this, and there's a lot that's a part of this. But like on just a base level, just being thankful to be able to turn on a microphone. To be able to have this microphone with the little fuzzy thing on it. Right. Like, what I mean? Like that when I really think about it, it all means something, and it means something to be able to have this kind of connection to people I haven't even met yet, like Knox. Even though I met you and Ace before, and you on multiple occasions. Yeah. And like, so like we're doing this, and this is fantastic. And what it should be is a foundation that we should build from, instead of constantly letting people come in and kick down the foundation with this whole green side, blue side thing. Like the idea that is what's actually like harming us, where we can be so much better. And the fact that we sought out each other in a smaller capacity to make ourselves better,
right,
is something that we all should strive for, that we all should be a part of, and we all should care about. And that's the most important thing to me. I think it is going to come down to us caring and us realizing that, like, at the end of the day, like when we have conversations about anything, whether it's politics, whether it's race stuff and stuff like that, at the bottom line, we all want really the same things. And in the gaming community, we all want to play cool games, and we all want to play cool games with our friends. Right. And that's the baseline of it. And if it helps, I'm going to constantly remind you that that's what this is about. This is supposed to be fun. Right. This was always supposed to be fun, and let's just keep it fun.
Right.
And that's all I really got to say. Like, man, you know, I just Scarfinger. Even though I'm on Facebook a whole lot more under my government name, but you can go there, go to Discord, go to I get the Scarcasm Discord is still out there, and like you know these places now that we have like the Discords and the Facebook groups and stuff like that, and where people have retreated to, it's possibly going to be a good thing when we all decide that it's safe to go back outside.
Right.
Right. Yeah. All right, man.
And you know what? Go PlayStation. I said it. I could be a team player. Go PlayStation. I ain't buying it first, but you can buy it first. And I hope you have the best fun ever with your friends doing hood rat things.
Right.
Amen. Yeah.
So, well, thank y'all for joining us, man. We really appreciate it. I think what I'm gonna do, I wrote the times down. I think I'm gonna break it up to the 3 big groups that we have. We talked about the marketplace, and then we talked about the gamer a little bit, and then we talked about the power narrative from there. And we talked about this generation and what we think and predictions and things like that. So I'm probably gonna break it up. I'm probably gonna release them 3 different episodes, about a day or 2 between each episode. And because it's about 2 hours, man, so I want to break it up to make it real consumable for folks, and I'll release that. I'll have that going on out there. I'm not sure which feed. I guess I'll throw it up on Facetious feed. Mike, I'll send it your way if you want to throw it up on your feed. Knox, I can send it to you. You can throw it up on whatever you got. And then I never said.
Then Knox, I have some content after how many years?
I know, right?
But we'll put that out there, and just, you know, I'm Blue Man Rule pretty much everywhere. I think I'm L. Asbury on YouTube and Twitter, but I'm Blue Man Rule on everything else. So, but yeah, y'all just hit us up, man. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you thought. Let us know about this generation. What appeals to you, what you think is most valuable just to you as a gamer, not what they told you is valuable to them or new features. Like, what do you want?
And if there's some dissension or you got a problem, you know, like some people, at me, bro. Like, say, like, if you want to talk about this and you want to discuss this, at me. Like, I ain't got no problem with having a conversation with you, and it ain't got to be about no rah-rah or anything like that. Right. Let's just be some grown men, and let's talk about some grown man things. You know what I'm saying?
And like, don't see my critique or my opinion as a personal attack on yourself.
Right.
Like, I've had so many conversations where you have a conversation with somebody, and your opinion based upon whatever it is almost seen as a personal attack upon them because they identify with this thing so much that they've taken on or they've adopted this identity. And that's I don't know how dudes that are over 40 can do that, but
I don't see it. Let me say some things, guys. You are more than your box.
Exactly.
You're more than your box. Yeah, man. So that's really about it, man. I'll have a 3-day weekend coming up. I'll celebrate my 40th on Monday. So we're gonna hold this thing down.
I see you, grown man.
Yes, sir.
I see
yes,
you.
Sir. Yeah.
See, now you gotta go get you some. You gotta get you some new now later Gators. You know what I'm saying? that match your Stetson. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta match your Stetson. And you can't have anything less than Stacey Adams once you turn 40.
Oh, from now on, yeah.
You can have nothing less than Stacey Adams.
Nothing.
You know what? At what age is it appropriate to get those shoes that be in Walmart? They have that real thick sole on the bottom. They like black or like white. You know what I'm saying?
The like, you talking about them orthopedic specials that Phyllis be wearing?
No, that's 60. You gotta make it to 60 to be able to wear those successfully. You know what I mean? With the straps, like, bro, you can't have no straps on your shoes unless it came on like the around your ankle for your Nikes. You know what I'm saying? Right. You can't have your straps around the rest of your foot unless it's attached to like some Nikes.
No.
Nah, you gotta get it's Stacey Adams time now, and you got to go get you some Steve Harvey zoot suits. You know what I mean? Like, it's real. You 40 now, dog. Like, you got to. and some loud colors. I'm talking loud, like you,
bright orange,
where you wearing like Easter suits every Sunday.
Every Sunday. Even though I'm just gonna go sit in my living room and watch church.
Every Sunday is Easter Sunday from now on.
From now on out.
Once you turn 40, man, it's like that.
Am I wearing Zoop every day, every Sunday?
Nah, I mean, like, it's like, and if you cheap, go to Avon and get you some Mesmerize. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you gotta get the Duke box with the dude with the gray beard on the front.
You just graduated. You just graduated from Black Suede. Like, you got to get you some Mesmerize, man. It's like you 40 now. You can't wear Brute no more.
Nah, man. Brute went out the window. but y'all come out here.
Curve is for young people. You can't do that no more.
No, I can't do it no more. Hey, my oldest was wearing Curve the other day, dog. Like, I wore Curve in college. He college age. He wearing Curve.
I'm gonna tell you something. All right, I'm gonna say this is the last. It's the last thing I would say. We all know why we stopped wearing Brute, right?
Right.
Because like the first drop of sweat and you smell like a brute. Man, I'm at the stove. I'm at the stove. Yes, a brute chieftain.
Yeah.
I was at the stove and I was like, I know that smell. What is that smell? And I was like, yo, this old dude in front of me got the brute with the sweat smell. Like, bruh, I'm gonna need you to stop wearing Brute.
Right. Man. And when they walk by you and your mouth open, you're like, I'm done, son.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, everybody, that was an awkward end, but thank you so much. Thank y'all so much for joining us on this 2020 State of the Industry Gaming Roundtable podcast. Look, like I said, we're gonna break it up, but this will not be the last you hear from us, folks, on this mic here. This year we're gonna have some things going. I know Mike always busy, but he loved getting out here talking about this stuff
for real.
And I like the ropey man for real. And Simpson said what up, by the way. So
yeah, and Bill told me to tell you what's up. He was on Xbox Live and he popped in. Yeah, he told me to say what's up.
Yeah, what up, cool. Bill Maintenance. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. For real, get at us. We can have a good conversation, man. That's what this thing is about. Let's talk about it. Let's have some fun. And, well, man, what did I used to say? I don't even know what I say. Well, thanks for putting us in your ear. We'll be back in your ear again sometime here real soon.
I enjoy it in your ears.
See?
Let's get it.
Peace out to the Warriors, yeah.
Peace out, y'all. All right, man. Stop that.